Only 8 teams remain, but only 2 will advance to the mid-season madness. Welcome to the Overwatch League APAC Knockouts. And it's like Dane Lemon Kiwi here. We got our winners finals for both Group A and Group B, and of course our lower bracket where the contenders teams are really dueling it out.
Yeah, those contenders teams are going to be battling to try and make it all the way up to our finality in the bracket and maybe even go to mid-season madness. They could win it all, Lemon, but there's a bunch of titans that stand in their way, starting with our winners finals today, which is the old classic in APAC, the Showdown. Previously, it's not been quite as contentious as it has been this year, but with Guangzhou Charge on the rise, it certainly has been a blossoming rivalry here in APAC.
And if you want to see, well, you probably won't see that rivalry because only one of these teams from Group A is going to get to go. But if you want to see these APAC rivalries clash against the Western teams, you gotta grab your mid-season tickets. They're on sale right now. If you're in Korea, you want to travel there, grab them before they sell out because we got to settle the beef between which region is better. But we can at least focus on the beef of the showdown, as you were bringing up, where the Charge swept the Spark last time they met in the qualifiers, and we're wondering if it's going to be a different story this time.
Yeah, it was a big upset, I think. People were starting to clock onto that Guangzhou were really good, but we saw that, hey, Hangzhou, a lot of people consider this a Chinese super team coming into the season. They were at the top of everyone's power rankings for APAC. And while they have been able to put up some impressive performances against a litany of opponents, it's mostly been Guangzhou who've stood in their way. And now, unfortunately, due to their third seed, we have to go up against Guangzhou, their kryptonite, once again in this bracket. And with only one of these teams being able to make it out of Group A, that's a nightmare scenario for Hangzhou if they can't pull out something very different in this winners final.
And whoever loses a series gets a second life, of course, in the lower bracket. But we're not like exactly predicting a return. It's difficult to call when you have Dreamers, who have been this dark horse in the bracket. They're the ones who knocked out the Seoul Dynasty, who I personally thought were on the rise since the addition of Sunjun and Prophet in and then out. Obviously, consistency issues in that department, but an even more consistent team at that front has been Pokerface, the #1 seed coming out of Korea, alongside O2 Blast, who is in the other bracket. Speaking of brackets, you can see visually on your screen.
You can see that our Game 8 here is a rematch of Game 1, where Pokerface managed to 3-0 Dreamers at the beginning of this bracket, showing that they are one of the best teams to come out of Contenders' career, alongside, of course, O2 Blast, who are surviving over in Group B. But Guangzhou Charge's victory over Pokerface, dropping a map on Shambali, of all places, was an interesting place to with armor. We managed to use a innovative wrecking ball composition with Mag in order to get one over on Guangzhou Charge.
Yeah, the Mag ball was something interesting. We'll have to take a look at, we'll have to look forward to seeing if they even need to bring out the pocket strats against the Dallas Fuel, who have won their first match against SPG, but now have to face the big dogs of the Overwatch League, Big Soul Infernal, who are looking like, if not #1 or the #2 team alongside the Charge. The Showdown's going to be fun. Dreamers, although they're at the 6th seed against Pokerface's #1 seed from Korea, who knows who's going to take that win? I'm throwing my entire pick'ems of these brackets out the window. Even the Panthera O2 Blast, like everyone's like, oh, that's an easy O2 Blast sweep. That's what you think. Panthera swept SPG in their previous match, and they looked so incredible when it was a masterclass of dive from Panthera.
Yeah, Panthera definitely leaning on Fate's expertise in those dives to look unstoppable in many cases, and Fate also being able to flex very effectively too to things like the Ramatra, meaning that Panthera by no means an easy team to plan for, because if you've figured out their dive, you still have to deal with their rush. And speaking of kind of these one-note kind of teams, Hangzhou Spark have been leaning a little bit more solidified. It's been their bread and butter, which is to play a lot of the Winston with the Sombra and Tracer and really up the tempo. So let's have a quick look at who's on the team. Of course, there's only one real substitution that happens, and that's 20 for Goushway, but you can bet that as we go into our... Oh, hello, 20.
Hello there.
He is indeed going to be in. And 20 is, of course, formerly known as Elsa from the Chengdu Hunters, very much a specialist on the D.Va, but also plays a mean Sigma. You'd expect it to be D.Va, though, for the faster pace that a control map demands.
Yeah, the last time we saw 20 was against the Seoul Dynasty, where he only came in on Ilios to play that D.Va, and it synergized great with Leaves Tracer or Leaves Echo, depending on the map. And then Shy will jump on the Tracer if Leaves wants his turn on Echo, but then we'll return to Sombra if Lee prefers the Tracer. So there's some interchangeability there. But 20 has really only been seen on Ilios or really control maps for that off tank, as you mentioned. But let's take a look at their opposition, the Charge. There is only one tank, so no big substitutions on this side. But this guy's aggressive, he brings great vibes, and he likes to tell
Need out of the sheltered barn that was the off-tank stable for a long time to now move into a bunch of other heroes, most notably the Winston. And of course, Piggy's expertise on the Winston in competitive Overwatch is almost entirely within Overwatch 2. So he's been learning Winston without the help of an off-tank, which is somewhat of a new approach for Winstons, where they're usually in Overwatch 1, the more classic Winstons like Gushway are relying on an off-tank to be able to soak up quite a bit of that damage. Piggy has, some might say, an advantage of only playing it in the Overwatch 2 environment at the professional level, which means that he's used to all the right clicks, he's used to being able to manage 5 versus 5 without having that second tank behind him.
And since the Spark like their double flanker so much, and you're not expecting that Sombra from the Guangzhou Charge, I'm hoping 20 isn't going to play this hyper-reactive style of just sitting back and waiting for flankers. There's only going to be Choice A1 to worry about, and depending how much of a threat he is, which according to these numbers, he very much is, and he plays his life very intelligently, having a lower death count than Leave. I want 20 to focus on his tank matchup against Piggy. D.Va being that natural counter to Winston will maybe force some errors out of Piggy. If Piggy is that aggressive main tank, having a D.Va constantly blowing him up could make Piggy overstay his welcome, overextend, and not play his life and not jump back quick enough.
Yeah, I remember that the D.Va's also very good at kind of interceding in a tracer-on-tracer duel, just flicking over a little bit of defense matrix here and there to eat up some of those pulse pistols, and we've seen that some D.Vas are getting incredibly adept at reading pulse bomb engagements as well to be able to eat those out of the air during that vulnerable flight phase. Ilios is going to be our first map lemon, chosen by Guangzhou as our highest seed, and this is a callback to a previous matchup between these teams where Guangzhou swept through, mostly off the back of Choice A1 absolutely popping off on the Echo on a well. So I'm intrigued to see if we're going to see a match there from the Hangzhou Spark, or if they specifically move to counter that.
So the Charge have played against 20 before, so this isn't kind of a different strategy that they have to face. I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Charge, stick to what you know best. And the Spark, you gotta hope that they prepared something different. They got swept by the Charge last time. You bring 20 in to bully Piggy again on the D.Va, but you gotta change up your style because clearly it wasn't enough before. But it's just a tough beast going up against the Charge, who have one of the best DPS duos in the league.
One of the best DPS duos in the league. Do we have a chance today? Oh, we've got a pause today. That much certainly can be assured.
Talk about the comps at least. Leave is already floating on the Echo, which we see a lot of on Ilios. Mostly on Well. Lighthouse, he might go to Tracer with Jimmy's... Or sorry, this is looking at Charge's comp here. The Ashe and Tracer is pretty typical for the Charge, but I like Leaf's choice on the Echo.
Yeah, the Leave Echo is going to give a lot of access to Jimmy that is usually going to be heavily moderated, because Jimmy's going to be playing up on top of the Lighthouse for this particular map here. A lot of teams like to grab your Ashe and play her on what is essentially an off angle in the center of the map on top of this Lighthouse, allowing Farway and Xerneas to pocket from afar and kind of use Jimmy as bait to demand the attention of a main tank like 20. And Piggy being able to match up on the D.Va as well is certainly something that's going to be in the back pocket of the Charge, because of course by trade Piggy was an off-tank player for most of Overwatch 1.
Wondering, oh, okay, this is a different comp from Hangzhou when it comes to Lighthouse. Last time on this map, it was Leaves Echo and Shy's Tracer. So obviously, we were hoping Spark changed things up since they got 2-0'd on Ilios last time. And Charge are undefeated on Ilios. So far, it's kind of some middle map posting from the Spark. Anti onto Lenksa. He's already pretty far back. Leave able to take some space here as Jimmy is posted a pretty forward for an Ashe. Usually you see them on the high ground, and that forward momentum allowed Jimmy to get a dynamite, get Shy low, and then you have the finish from the Charge, who pounce on that so quickly. That 5-on-4 will make Spark take a step back and maybe give Charge the first cap.
Farway also popping off to be able to weave in a Bardic Grenade to get them low. Jimmy, once again, going to be hit by a Bardic Grenade as well. It seems like the Annas have both decided that the Ashes are going to be the priority when it comes to using these Bardic Grenades, because in conjunction with a Dynamite, you can burn them down and nothing can really be done about it.
Okay, the cap went through for the Charge. You see Leaf kind of back there trying to bait out the presence of Choice A1. Spark at least have Lenksa trying to pack Leave so his presence can stay there a bit longer. Even 20 is trying to anchor this. They think this fight is winnable. They force the Charge back. But with Barway having so much space, he can throw antis. He's generated this nano already. And the Spark leave this fight without dropping any deaths, which is pretty intelligent. You don't want to waste any time.
Oh, intelligent disengage, and Leave catches Zerny asleep in for a moment. 20 gonna be nanoed in retribution, but Shy's been taken out on the flip side, and that's gonna make this potential Hangzhou attack a little bit more toothless.
Yeah, that was good coordination from the Spark off of that nano to just disengage and then re-engage with their own nano. But Piggy able to get back into the mech and even get the D-Mech on the 20 somehow. And it's cool to see Piggy even just mirror the Diva instead of risk the Winston into the Diva, which wouldn't have favored him.
Yeah, unfortunately there, 20 just did not know where he was going to try and dodge that bomb. I think it came as a little bit of a surprise for him when he was otherwise occupied with trying to shut down other methods of damage coming through. Jimmy almost has a Bob ready to go. And remember how important those can be with these more fragile compositions that don't want to brawl on the point. The Bob can be a great contesting tool, but forces the Hangzhou Spark to have to get rid of it before we can effectively flip over the point.
Okay, the Bob from Jimmy got placed, or at least Shy's Bob got on the point. I'm not really sure where Jimmy's is either way. Oh, they're shooting each other. Well, Jimmy's Bob wins! It's just better. Charge, though, have lost Xerneas. It's all up to Farway to solo heal this team, and Piggy has pounced on the supports of the Spark. Really needed to come back in that fight. 20 might be able to self-destruct just to buy some time. Leaf is hanging around too. 85% plus for the Charge as Spark hope to buy time for Monk and Lenksa to come back.
Yeah, Monk continuously accosted by Piggy. The difference could not be more stark. It feels like Farway's never challenged.
Oh, that's a challenge. A pulse bomb right to the face. As Monk and Lenksa came back, so did the Spark once they had the healing to come back. Piggy is feeling the pain without Xerneas once again. Self-destruct. He's able to easily get back into the mech, jumping up to the top of the building. Spark coming up to the nano. If they feel the need to use it, see Shy respecting that space, barely dodging the nano of Choice A1, who is on the hunt! Headshot from Shy! As Spark have the nano still in charge. I think without Choice A1, I've lost so much real estate, and they're going to take their time.
Shy demands a return of respect to his name. Maybe these whippersnappers of teams like the Guangzhou Charge who have come to dominate APAC, but still he is a venerable name that has been respected for generations of Chinese Overwatch. Now, with an Nano in hand, Monk can certainly set the tempo for the next incoming fight. It's likely to go on to 20 here, but Jimmy's fairly well protected if he's going to be the target.
Charge just have to win the one fight. May take maybe just another to generate some ultimates to help. A Spark want to conserve theirs. Got some initial damage into Spark. We're stuck in this corner, and it's up to Leave to anchor this point. If Charge decide to send Choice A1 to try to flip it around, the nano from Monk has been given to 20, who is on the push. The Charge have lost their Ana, and both supports fall for the Charge. And you only got a 1 trade, now 2 trades. There's no supports remaining at all. But it's Charge up by 1 in this fight. Jimmy gets sent for a swim, and the Spark have lost control of the point. Choice A1 with Piggy against one of the Spark. This has been a close battle, and 20 is sent away.
Huge 2v2, but now Makirako's joined in too, using that teleport to return quickly to the fray, and Shy's now got crosshairs on this as well. A wraparound to try and turn this about as the Bob moves onto a point to keep it contested. That'll mean that overtime's going to be a little bit less stressful, Lemon.
Oh, the Bob actually got... Oh, the self-destruct versus the Bob, not the interaction I was expecting to talk about today. But the Charge still hold on and take the first round, 185.
I'm not entirely sure how Leave managed to die to that Diva bomb when clearly the point was going to remain contested by the Bob. Maybe a slight brain fart there, but that's okay. Happens to the best of us. Hangzhou Spark. We saw Leave actually manage to get on top of Farway. And that's the only time that Farway died in that particular round, which was super important because there couldn't be a more stark difference between the amount of attention Monk is getting compared to Farway. And Choice at 1 just demands this constant duel from Leave, whereas it feels like Piggy is constantly free to just stay on top of Monk and beat him to death like that.
And Piggy is sitting on 0 deaths, just talking about how quickly he realizes when the fight isn't going his way, disengages and re-engages without missing much time, and able to jump on Linksa and Monk much quicker than Farway and Zerny is dying. But it's still a close battle, 100 to 85, but we go to Well, where the Echo duel will ensue. I was wondering if Leave was going to attempt that mirror matchup or if he's going to want to go to a hit scan instead. It's Echo v Echo, though, with Piggy posting up in the middle of the point. Farway tucked nicely and safely to the left side, but on the right is Leave, extending on that Echo, maybe spotting Farway. Shy might even be going after Farway at the moment, as both teams just looking for the right sticky bomb, maybe from the Echo, or the right damage from the Tracer to find a low HP target to coordinate on.
Not wishing to overplay their hand and get themselves in a sticky situation. Monk, of course, goes low, but good peel there from Leave, using the focusing beam to make sure that Piggy remains feared. And that's going to force Farway to spend a little bit of time getting that back into order. 20 eats an incoming bio grenade. That denies an engagement.
The point still hasn't been capped. Both teams just playing so passively until the double focusing beam removes both supports. That'll be the fight. The Spark are dead in the water. And finally, we have the Charge take a cap. But this is talking about just how passive both teams played until you had that low HP target to go after, and Choice A1 found it.
A classic FPS homies know about the spray transfer, but Choice A1 showing off a beam transfer right there. Beautifully done between 2 low HP targets. Remember, that focusing beam does 200 DPS against targets that are under 50% of their max HP. So communication is everything for these Echoes, making sure we don't waste those cooldowns.
Early nano from Choice A1, and Jimmy helps finish off Leave as a target. They fly to that back line, but never too deep. You never know how that Diva's gonna pressure you back, but Shy with the pulse bomb behind Xerneas to deny that rally. Piggy, realizing that lack of resources, falls to the end of the point. Spark can slowly advance. Jimmy was hiding and looming with the pulse, barely misses. Spark are careful, and they step up to see if they can get a flip. They take shelter in these right buildings so these supports are not easily flanked, especially by that Echo. Self-destruct is forced by Piggy, and the rally from Zerny is right behind them as Charge want to keep hold of this point for as long as possible.
No remake, though, as Piggy was taken out by those sticky bombs coming through from the Echo. Xerneas is a very, very flimsy front line without the rally maintained. So Guangzhou Charge will be forced to back off now as they look for potential staggers from Hangzhou Spark.
Yeah, Spark, good to deny that remake from Piggy and not overextending. It's like the Charge are baiting. They're so good at disengaging. We talked about that on Lighthouse, how Piggy had 0 deaths. Obviously, that stat has gone away. He has won this round. But Spark have so many ultimates through this scrap. And if they use these well, they might be able to match the score. Choice A1 has been nanoed. On the other side, it's Linksa to reinvigorate this backline. Monk is gonna need it. The duplicate for Choice A1 to win the 1v1, but also get a second chance at life. He flies out, but it's a good pounce from 20. You need to pressure that Echo player, and 20 is delivering on this roll.
Ah, man, crazy dodge of a sleep there by Choice A1 using the duplicate to make sure it passed right on through him, but great response by Hangzhou Spark as well, just absolutely piling in onto the Echo when they're vulnerable in that tiny room, knowing that they can't fly away. 20 picked up the back door so it couldn't be moved through. Huge body block. Leave! It's been picked off by Farway. A peek too many, Lemon, and that could be curtains for this fight.
Yeah, Ana, just this underrated counter to these flying characters, which a little bit of poke goes a long way. Charge can advance. They got the pulse from Jimmy. A little initial damage. 20 self-destruct. Xerneas' shield will come up. He is alone on the point, though, as the Charge are starting that flip. But Spark won't make it easy as the Charge collapse and the Sparks dive off of 20. Has been incredible. Of course, off of the Leave duplicate. Some investment from the Spark and a lead their way.
Down 1, Hangzhou Spark still make it work, sending it a nano just for fun this time onto the DPS partner of Shy, but of course it instantly dissipates for second, but the Echo moves back into their regular form. Choice A1 now on their third different hero of this, panicking, going over to the Sombra instead, maybe hoping to shut down 20 here.
Yeah, see if you can spark the overtime in a more safe position while cloaking. Or can get that extra burst. Piggy gets pulsed. Will be able to self-destruct. Xerneas with the rally. Charge using ults because it's last fight. Or Spark will be forcing the round 3. Nano ready to be given to Leave, who wants to jump into the back. Leave's been Nano, but so has Piggy. And Piggy pulled the trigger just earlier. And the supports are set ablaze. As Spark were hit by a 2-man anti of Farway. And Spark, I'm not sure if they can hold on. The Charge have just clearly won this fight. But Shy and Leave, this DPS duo that have seemed so underrated, pulled through at the last second to force the round 3.
I'd say they're catching up to their rating now, Lemon. Leave, a former MVP. Shy, some would consider the best hit scan in China, but Jimmy has definitely been giving him a run for his money in 2023, capturing the hearts of people across the world, especially, of course, Caster. If you haven't seen Jimmy's wedding message to Caster, then be sure to go check it out on Twitter. It's heartwarming and very, very funny. As we head over to our third and final round of Ilios here. A return potentially to the Hangzhou Spark classic approach of their double flanker. They love to turn up the speed on these, but we know that since the dawn of time, Ruins has been the territory of snipers, and that's where Jimmy's at his happiest.
And that's a good point of just Spark have had high highs and low lows throughout this season, and Shy and Leave have just been countered. Everyone is scrimming against Tracer Sombra, and it's rather not that Spark are not good at executing, but that other teams have been good at countering them. And it's great to see that just off of having their substitute in of 20, they're able to take this round, but this is the deciding one here on Ruins. As Charge, the longer this fight goes, the more charge that, well, the Zarya of Piggy's gonna get. And that sort of natural counter to D.Va, who can't mitigate this damage easily. Charge can have Piggy just use all the bubbles on himself if needed to just force 20 out. They've already shredded his mech. So the Spark are just gonna have an awful time trying to break into this point.
Bro, Piggy's got that room temperature sensitivity. This guy's mouse is all over the place right now. The Guangzhou Charge pick their moment to make an engagement work. You can see what Piggy only has 28% ult charge at the moment. He's mostly playing almost a peeling Zarya and forcing Hangzhou Spark to try and overplay their hand on dives to break the bubble as well as find themselves a kill afterwards. Now 20 moves over onto a Winston. Obviously, this is a lot more Gushui's wheelhouse of a Hangzhou Spark, but you know that this is a very well-drilled team when it comes to their Winston strats. 20 should be able to fit in like a glove.
You have that Graviton Dragon Strike combo. If you can even find that nice group up from the Spark who are gonna play so dispersed and they have high mobility. But now Charge up to 50%. Pulse from Choice A1 still splashes onto Monk. Choice A1 gets the second. Hunting for the third and the fourth. Charge can always depend on this guy. He makes it happen.
Sombra, get out here and fight. Choice A1 needs himself an ace. Ah, Jimmy goes on a hunt. Might well have found them with a Sonic Arrow. Shy looks somewhat flabbergasted as they die. But this gives plenty of time for Choice A1 to just accost in the front and make sure that he can build up to yet another pulse bomb to try and make sure that the next commute to the point from Hangzhou is again very heavily taxed. Removing Monk that early meant that Hangzhou Spark were essentially doomed from the start. But Shy can try and undo them. An EMP here if Guangzhou Charge move together.
Well, you got the punish on the Choice A1 5v4 EMP, and 20 jumps immediately afterwards, explodes onto two players, and the Charge, they'll fall over and take this L gladly, because the fact that Choice A1 won them a fight only using a pulse bomb is so economical for the Charge. Didn't use anything that fight, they're up to 94, they only need one fight win to win the map.
That Graviton Dragon combo, it's an old classic, but unlikely to be of too much use here unless they can force Monk and Lengza to really try and stay together. But how do you do that? I think that the way you do that is you use a Nano Tracer to try and pressure Monk and force Lengza in to make sure that they play together. Then you can grab afterwards.
Good initiative from the Spark. Just forcing Charge in these awkward positions. Try to hit him with the pulse. It missed. Charge now activate the rally as maybe their final push towards the map. Star Choice in one slept. What a turn and burn from Monk, who gives now the Nano to 20. You can conserve that primal until things get hairy. Piggy gladly taking the cell, but maybe not so gladly because having to constantly restart and reset this energy for Zarya is just killer. You need to scale on this hero.
Yeah, Zarya very much that scaling hero. Does not work well from a stop and start. Finally, the grab is going to be available, but Hangzhou Spark have finally found their tempo, found their rhythm. They're neither rushing nor dragging. They are striking exactly when they mean to, and you can see that Farway's under this consistent, constant pressure. Finally, the attention that he managed to evade on Lighthouse is being given by Hangzhou Spark.
Big Graviton Dragon Strike combo. Charge just pressuring the point to see what kind of group up they can get from the Spark, who on the opposite end want to just cause chaos with this Primal Rage. EMP from Shy on top. Spark barely have any healing, but when you have Leave with the double kill, that is all she needs. Spark at 82, almost at the 0 to 100 comeback.
Guangzhou used everything there as well. That means Piggy can at least swap over onto a Winston, so we don't have to scale up towards effectiveness again. But with no Nano and no real hope of getting an ultimate in this fight, it's going to have to be vanilla mechanics only. Choice here, one or Jimmy looking for a miracle, a well-placed headshot, or a beautiful one clip from a Tracer. Otherwise, Hangzhou Spark are rewriting history here on Ilios.
Charge are trying to mark where Shy is. They have no idea. Charge have to watch their backs, but also help Piggy at the front, who's been antied. He jumps out in time. Leave on the flank, misses the pulse. Charge don't have any ultimates besides Choice one. If he can make that miracle play happen like he did before with the 4K. He can only do so much though. 99% for the Spark. Final fight territory as Zerny is in trouble and so is Langsta. Supports. Somehow the point was given up to the Charge. The rally. Piggy jumps in. Choice one gets them low. Far away with the anti. The Spark's backs are against the wall, but 20 want to break them out. The monkey has been uncaged. He's been nanoed, and 20 is doing his best to coordinate with the team, but Jimmy's 2K might have been the nail in the coffin as Charge have the 3-on-1 and have denied that 0 to 100 comeback by the Spark to take map number 1.
What a rush from Farway and Xerneas. It takes some major cojones to move like that as an Anna Brig duo, but Xerneas with the rally just cleaves through so many people, and you get rid of Langsa before his own rally can come up as well. Farway hits an aid onto 3 members of Hangzhou Spark at the proper, exact right time to make sure that Langsa cannot be peeled for, and you remove that Brigator, you remove that brawling power, and then you can control the point. Even with the Nano coming up onto 20, there simply was not enough power behind that Winston to flip it around.
That just came down to which DPS duo had more clutch factor, and Jimmy's 2K was part of that. Choice one who had a 4K in one fight. It was incredible. Farway so underrated when it comes to Anas. He just hits these 2-3-man antis that in these neutral fights give Guangzhou the edge. And they have the edge in this series. They're up 1-0, but up next we have Sparks map pick. Welcome back, y'all, to the Joedown. It's feeling like deja vu, like day, because we're going to King's Row as Spark's map choice. The same one, the same hybrid that they went to in the last time they faced off.
It do be feeling very deja vu, Lemon, because guess what? Last time when these guys played Ilios as map number 1, Guangzhou Charge also won that 2-1. So I'm just saying, the last time this happened, Guangzhou Charge won King's Row 3-2. So if we're stuck in some kind of time loop right now, Dormammu, I've come to bargain. Guangzhou has come to bargain with the remainder of Hangzhou to try and get themselves a map point here, subbing in for 20, so we can, of course, expect a big old dose of our big boy Winter.
I still think 20 did a good job as that substitute that just kind of comes in for Ilios or some control maps, mostly as their Ilios specialist, I would say. But obviously, you have a lot more experience diving with Guangzhou. And I think, honestly, the Ilios map came down to clutch factor. I said that before the break, of which DPS were just mechanically going to stand out. And at that point, it was the Guangzhou Charge. I think Leave and Shy are at their peak, though. The fact that they've made Charge sweat that much, you know, it was almost that 0 to 100 comeback on Ruins to almost win the map. So I don't think this is going to be a sweep.
Yeah, I feel like Hangzhou definitely have more to give. One of the interesting things about Hangzhou versus Guangzhou here as well is that Hangzhou Spark did, in many people's eyes, look like the Chinese super team. The team with all the best players coming out of China gathered into one spot. And, you know, I think Farway, Xerneas, and Jimmy take issue with that particular assessment, trying to show that Jimmy is the better hit scam than Shy, but Farway, the better Ana than Monk. And honestly, I could not ask for a better Ana matchup coming out of China than Monk versus Farway. Both these guys are legendary on the hero. It's a fantastic meta for them. I think that Lengsa's had a little bit of an esoteric hero pool through his career. He's played a little bit of the Lucio, a little bit of the Bat, a little bit of the Mercy. Of course, Xerneas started off for many as a Mercy one trick, who pocketed Jinmu in the skies during the Chengdu Hunters era, but has definitely expanded his hero pool incredibly and become a super reliable Brigator who's going to be actually on his toes most of this game here, especially against Guangzhou, to try and mitigate the incoming burst of those dives to allow more survivability for Farway so he can continue popping off.
Well, I'll be in Mercy Jail for anyone who wins me championships, so yeah, I'll send it, but I'm glad to see Xerneas break out of that and now go to Brig Jail. But he's also shows off some Zen on some longer range maps, one of the few Brig players that do so. But we're going to King's Row, where this is Spark's map choice. They lost this, of course, to the Charge last time. Kind of interesting, they want to return to this yet again. We're hoping, again, a change of strategy in that case, but also that Spark overall don't have a better record than the Charge on this map. They also lost this to the Dallas Fuel. The Charge, interestingly enough, although they've swept a lot of teams in the qualifiers, they had this weird loss to the Shanghai Dragons on King's Row, where the Charge got full health. So, not sure what happened there.
That was almost inexplicable. It felt like a glitch in the Matrix, like some kind of integer overflow happened. It was truly a game that did happen. Go and check out the VOD if it really interests you that much. It was one of the first signs of life that we really saw from Shanghai. So we head over now on to King's Row. I wouldn't be too shocked to see Shy try and play a defensive Hanzo here, or even an Ashe, but that would allow Jimmy the door that he so desperately craves.
Yeah, it's sometimes you may even see Ashe on these maps just to have that dynamite. We saw it even on Ilios, how that dynamite plus anti plus a Winston stomping your head in as Jimmy's making some sick moves. But it is the Hanzo, just that one-shot capability. I think that's why the Charge seems so consistent, because it's easy to pull off these trace, not easy, but easier to just depend on your mechanics on Tracer Hanzo versus trying to go for hacks and being in the right position when it comes to double flanker.
Yeah, the double flanker, it adds one more player to the mix, and that makes making things happen a lot more difficult. You've got to check with two people before you try and make your dive. Just Piggy and Choice A1 playing as a diving duo. Choice A1 already takes out Leave. That's a big scalp to take.
This is already a different look from the Spark. Last time they went Leave's Echo and Shy's Tracer. So going to something that suits them and just going into the straight up mirror. For Leave and Choice A1, this is a Tracer duel that you might favor Choice A1, but I feel like Leave has been left out to dry by his team, just not matching up on tempo. But Spark have already looked really good this series. They start this initial dive on the top right to stuff Charge in these chokes. And Spark may need to summon Leave's presence on this point. There he is. Choice in One's recall is out. Maybe Leave's as well, I'm not sure. So Guangzhou might need to help out Leave when it comes to going on the point.
Yeah, the thing is here, of course, Choice A1 can start on the high ground, and now is going to be the one who really contests the point, whereas you have to have Leave commute all the way up to the top limit.
Yeah, Spark are just poking and prodding, not showing too much of themselves on the point, not getting the punish onto Piggy, but Choice A1 pulls is shy. It's a 5-on-4 for the defense. Spark actually take room in this hotel side. They got the bubble of Guangzhou, who's not too threatened actually. He didn't jump back fast enough. 30 HP. Charge get the chase down, and Guangzhou thought he was a lot safer than he was in that 5v4, and the Spark lose that momentum.
Choice A1 survives getting slept as well. Must have been a decent range where no one could line up a headshot to try and burst him down afterwards. Shy, it's a little bit risky to try and go for that. That's a very early nano.
I love that initiative from the Charge, though. And you have the Primal, too, so you can just see what you get with this nano. Jump back pretty safely. And it's still precious seconds from the Spark. Now less than half their time bank remaining, as the Spark have barely got any eliminations going. One death, and that's Xerneas. But Shy and Xerneas dead again here. Spark and a 4v4 with closer respawns have Guangzhou tossing and turning with the Primal, going after Farway, managing to dodge to sleep, I guess, but not managing to jump his way out of this situation. What a free take acquired by Leave.
Oh, a nice young lad just hitting Farway into the corner as the mega health back in it. Instead, Lengsa gets Nano to try and survive the Dragon, but Biotic Grenade as well. Lengsa's not feeling awfully survivable here and doesn't even pop the rally. Piggy down, it might be a little bit more tempting to try and force this fight to happen, Lemon.
And Guangzhou's already back from that early death. That's how those close respawns from the offense can help them. Just keep stacking this point! And the chase down from Choice A1, who creeped up from the hotel side. Spark just totally not aware of their flank, and it might cost them this fight, but it's a good trade from Guangzhou, and Spark do manage to cap the point.
They take their sweet time about it though, Lemon. 3 minutes is not a huge amount to try and get through this middle portion if Guangzhou can only win a single fight and take the momentum away. I would love for Shy to keep a hold of his Dragon Strike until we see if Guangzhou Charge is going to try and contest at the primary archway here and use it to buy space for Guangzhou and Leave to operate onto the back line. Farway's coming up on the nano here, and that means that Piggy should be able to be the tempo setter compared to Monk, who of course used his a lot more recently to keep Lengsa alive, so it's a lot more initiative that Piggy can try and claim here, and that's why he's so confident about moving forward to claim that high ground.
Dangerous Sonic engage from Shy and Jimmy. A headshot can just open up that fight, but neither of them land it. So you have this neutral situation. Dragon Strike to seal off the fight. Doesn't isolate anyone, but Spark can round this corner. Jimmy in trouble. Jump is forced. Spark make the call that they want to coalesce onto Piggy, who I guess jumped in and took so much damage. He didn't have time to escape. And without that tank, the Charge are defenseless as they head towards the end of B, and Guangzhou chases them down. Took a nasty headshot from Jimmy and had to slow his roll, as the Charge will be able to stabilize once Piggy gets back.
Yeah, Piggy had to overdive there to try and take attention away from Jimmy and allow him to escape after he got forced into that back corner by the Dragon Strike. Choice A1 needs to rescue this once more. A hero moment with the Pulse Bomb is absolutely required.
Oh, Choice A1 thought he couldn't get Mega, so got the recall instead. Jimmy is picked off, though, when Charge started yet another fight on the back foot. And Spark get this free push. They have ultimates and haven't been forced to use it yet. Monk taking damage from this Tracer and sleeps. Choice A1, I believe. Guangzhou slaps him to death. And Spark now just using the Primal will force out the rally and the Dragon Strike, but the Charge have no chance of contesting this, so that is a complete waste from the Charge as the Spark move to point C with 3 minutes.
A rarity here for Guangzhou Charge. We are seeing them panic here, and Shy is continuing to just get one over on Jimmy. Only one final blow thus far, but Shy on the other side. The old legend of Chinese hit scans, currently 7 final blows. He is deadlifting.
Piggy, okay, no splash from the Pulse Bomb. He gets low. Piggy is challenged this time and is taking a lot more pressure than he's used to. He's playing his life and changing up at what HP threshold he wants to jump back. as Spark have the nano, and Gushue is hiding to just maybe catch somebody off guard. Up on the top there is Piggy, and that's where Shy wants to sit. So they shoot Piggy down. Gushue clears the alley, or just clears the way for Shy to get into a better position, and that's a power spot for Spark. As they put Charge against the wall, the Dragon Strike catches Xerneas off guard, and there's no supports for the Charge, and this Spark payload is already halfway to C.
Oh, Gushue going on an absolute tear with the nano. Guangzhou Charge, it feels like their comms are falling apart. They're never getting any value out of his nanos onto Piggy. Either they're used when antis are on Piggy so the healing doesn't come through, or they're used far too early. Choice1 just begging for his life as he darts away, ready to once again contest. And Xerneas, remember how vulnerable he is without proper peel from something like a D.Va.
9 final blows to 2 in favor of Shy. And you think Jimmy was the better Hangzhou here, but performing just better as Shy was making a huge difference for the Spark on King's Row, and just missing that arrow as soon as I hype him up. Had a chance to pick off Piggy and maybe set Spark up for success. It's the rally from Langsta, maybe looking for that stun onto Piggy as he jumped in, but he stuck to high ground. Spark still coalesce onto the backline while Piggy was leaving. Farway in trouble, may have to go back to spawn. An important sleep is hit onto Gushue. He'll pop the Primal in a second. Piggy forced to Primal due to that pulse bomb of Leave, as Charge are just holding on by the skin of their teeth. Piggy can't keep contesting, and there's 1 minute locked in for this time bank of the Spark.
Oh my goodness, guess who's back in Overwatch? It's Shy, baby. Out of 20 kills, 11 final blows of them come from Shy. He's not just a whiz kid, Lemon. He's a miraculous youngster popping off on the Hangzhou, and we're finally seeing Shy break out of a Sombra jail, following in the footsteps that Jimmy and the Guangzhou Charge carved by allowing these players onto their ideal heroes where their skills are truly at their most powerful. And of course, we got ourselves a little bit of a Shy highlight.
Yeah, Shy popped off a lot, was able to win the duel against Jimmy, the Dragon Strike to get them free space onto point B, and just funneling all of that damage into Piggy, I think, is making a huge difference. Because Spark removing that tank, giving Gushue the free space to keep jumping and jumping and taking this real estate makes Spark's road through point B seamless, pretty much. And of course, Leave is adding pulse bombs to that equation, so Piggy is summoning the attention of everyone that they know, Spark know that Charge's dives, their whole team structure is behind Piggy's calls.
Blanks are yet to die, by the way. 6-0 right now. No final blows, playing incredibly safe at the moment, just making sure that Leave continuously gets that supply of health packs to keep Choice1 busy. On the other side, Xerneas, his counterpart, 5 deaths. Huge gulf in the efficacy, or at least for survival uptime, of the Brigaders between these teams. Guangzhou Charge need to figure out what's going wrong with the comms between Farway and Piggy to make sure that these nanos can start to actually get value on engagements.
Charge out the gates. Spot Gushue, they ping him to the top right. I think that might be even Shy, or is that... I can't tell colors. That's actually Jimmy. And they just beam Gushue down, who just didn't jump back to safety. A huge mistake there. And the Charge realized that. They punish it. They already get a free tick from that. There will be a recontest from the Spark. But it's how Spark can maybe get into Hotel to access Farway. Charge, especially Choice1, did a good job of that last time, but Leave and Gushue jump in. And they denied that final tick. But the Charge are looking to lock this in as swiftly as they got here. The Spark are on the high ground. They seem a bit more stabilized. Piggy didn't jump all the way back to safety. That's a critical ante from Farway, though, to maybe slow Spark's roll on the punish to Piggy. But as the dice fall, both teams lose so many bodies. The Charge have closer respawns, but it won't be a final tick quite yet.
Farway emerges from Hotel, looking for me, and takes out his counterpart in Monk. Now there's no one to keep Gushue healed up, so he simply turns time into ult charge. And this is a much faster take on point A here than the Hangzhou Spark, who only had 3 minutes to try and get through point B in the streets. However, we're out of a time loop, Lemon, as Hangzhou Spark have been able to get themselves 3 points here, and a pretty good time bank as well. But with less than a minute, it does mean that if Guangzhou Charge cap with any time left, they are going to be able to get that second attack.
Yeah, the DPS focus from both teams have been so good. These Winstons, the fact that they're the first blood almost every single fight tells you a lot of how they have to play their lives a lot better. Gushue is kind of what caused Spark that point, I'm not going to lie. And then the Charge halfway here to street space. The pressure is on to Guangzhou, who tries to reconnect with his supports in the alleyway, and also Shy, who now gets antied. Piggy's on top of him with Primal. Shy tries to disappear into the shadows, and now he lives in the bubble of Piggy, who jumps back towards the streets. Dragon Strike from Shy catches Choice in one of all people. And Guangzhou finishing off the remnants of the Charge, who just don't have the damage for this fight.
I was actually watching Choice One's health bar during that particular fight. I think he recalled into the dragon and then just did not know where to go.
Oh no.
Yeah, recalled into the middle of a street. Oh, this is danger, isn't it? Now Hangzhou Spark, if they decide to try and press this, they can control the archway, but they don't want to be dove past for free without control of the high ground. So they move in to a point where Guangzhou can actually wrap around from behind and start to really do damage to the Guangzhou Charge backline.
Yeah, I like where Spark are setting up now, just these different high grounds. You have more options and places to hide to catch the Charge off guard once they try to get to the cart. So many different ways of approaching this King's Row defense. And it's the rally, the Dragon Strike from the Charge, but Zerny is not able to deliver a lot of that overhealth, but Piggy at least delivers on the kills. Guangzhou is primaling, and Leave gets a double kill, finishing off those low HP targets that Guangzhou set up. Both these teams are trading equally and so well that it makes it so hard to decide and figure out who's coming ahead in these fights.
Line him up, knock him down. Guangzhou incredibly low right now, needs to get back to the Ana. And the free fire on the heel does start to get Guangzhou topped up. We'll be able to return real quick here. However, Hangzhou Spark don't really have a huge amount of resource in terms of ultimates to re-engage in this fight. What they do have is positioning in drove. Shy being able to control the high ground and Guangzhou up there too means that Piggy's going to have trouble trying to make this happen.
All right, Piggy misses his jump towards Shy. And kind of is just existing. At least the bubble's blocking off some of these heals from Monk onto Guangzhou, who's maybe missing that. He jumps back. Spark giving up a lot of that space as Charge approach that point B cap. It's Choice A1 who follows up with Piggy. You're watching Leave on your screen chase that other Tracer down. Pulse from Choice A1 doesn't get the final blow he was looking for as Spark emerged from their cave. And Shy hits headshot after headshot, and the Sparks send them home.
They emerge from their cave, and bows and arrows have just been discovered by cavemen. Full Unga Bunga Grug mode from Shy. Hunting down saber-toothed tigers and Guangzhou Charge members alike. What a performance this has been from him. Unfortunately, he has lost his deadlift. He's only 15 out of 31 final blows now, but it's a deadlift in my heart, Shy. Keep playing the Hanzo, please, I beg you.
Spark, the hold from the next 2 minutes here. Charge, not having a lot of time, not getting full value out of Xerneas' rally early on, but that's just good awareness from the Spark to just collapse all that player so quickly. Charge, depending on Piggy to maybe jump in, but is he waiting on Nano? You can't afford that. Primal is used, just trying to divide Linksa and Monk. Piggy is slept but woken immediately back up, and Charge at least get the final blows off of Jimmy, finishing off these targets that Piggy set up. Now the bubble's well placed from these Winstons to cut off this Ana healing. Lynx has been anti. Choice in one is on the flank. And Charge are ahead. Beautiful stick by Leave equals things up. And the Charge are able to win these fights flawlessly as a Dragon Strike may delay them from capping. Charge on the right side of the cart. Keep the progress going. And the Spark can't brawl without Guangzhou. They'll have to give that up.
Jimmy's had enough of being giga-gapped on the Hanzo. Evokes the spirit of the ancient Chinese battle god Bacon Jack and brings all of his hit scan prowess to bear here on the Hanzo. Of course, now controlling this high ground, it's going to demand attention from the Hangzhou Spark. You need to invest resources in trying to take him away from here, and that means that Guangzhou might have to make a slightly overextended dive that will leave Monk and Lynx vulnerable.
Cost the Charge a lot of time to get point B done. If they don't win this next fight, they'll be at a time disadvantage if they even finish at all. Charge, this was a map they lost to the Shanghai Dragons. Is this a weakness from our #1 team of the qualifier? Choice A1 trying to prove us all wrong. The Pulse in the middle of the crowd is only a splash as the Charge want to cause a tsunami here at the end of King's Row, and it's Piggy that will lead that, but Guangzhou's on a counter dive with the Nano. Leave is already forced to recall. Guangzhou is slept. He's not happy about that. Taking a lot of bursts, but Guangzhou manages to jump out, and not before saying hello to Farway and goodbye to him back to spawn, as the Charge can't seem to snowball their way to the end yet.
Target focus from Hangzhou looking real strong right now between Guangzhou and Lee, finding those squishies. even if they have a shield like Xerneas and being able to cleave through them incredibly quickly. Now Leave looking for yet another miraculous bottom. Last time it was attached to Farway. Getting rid of that Ana, that main source of healing, is the win condition that Leave can put on the plate of the Hangzhou Spark. Oh, they managed to get a Sonic on him too.
Leave creeps up from the Mega Pack, misses the pulse, and he's antied. Leave doesn't have recall, so Piggy just beats him to death, I guess. No blinks, no recall, and no hope. Spark needed Leave to coordinate with Gushue to make this space happen. Now the Primal is all that the Spark can hope, as Gushue will jump back to the high ground once he drops to half health. Spark have respawn control. Respawn advantage, I'm sorry, and Charge just didn't press that advantage really hard enough, but the antis from far away are still hitting that back wall so well that Shy just can't have anything to work with. Charge, though, once Leave and Gushue are back there, can't do much, and they C9 Charge go to the end, and they cap the map.
And you can bet that Piggy's there in chat, giving them a letter number and declaring the presence of Charles IX. The Royal Blue Buglers hearken that there is no cart touch, but Gushue was deep in the back there, trying to make the most of Monk's anti-nave that got on top of Farway, and hey, they did manage to turn that into a kill. Alas, it was not quite enough, and Leave getting caught there. Post-pulse bomb, that must have been a great call from either Farway or Xerneas. Like, yo, Leave doesn't have himself a recall right now. He triple blinked onto me to try and get the stick. Go get him, Piggy. Beat him to death. And so they did. Still for Guangzhou Charge, not out of the woods. They do have a lesser time bank here, but crucially, they did cap point A a lot faster than Hangzhou Spark did. Took them about a minute and a half compared to Hangzhou Spark's 3 minutes.
I'm not sure how I feel about the Spark counter dive. Like, it was really up to Leave to be a little bit more aware of that cart and to be anchoring there. You can't really ask your supports to be alive in that case.
Please, just be living.
Just to live, you know, in that situation against all of the Charge. But it was almost a fight win from the Spark because they got the executions, just not the payload stall. But it's a 50-second gap where the Charge are down, but they're attacking first.
Looks like we're going to be seeing this same mirror again, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is the mirror that we settle into for a majority of this series. Even if Hangzhou Spark are unable to claim this map, they certainly feel very confident having Shy on the Hanzo, and he's in good form today.
Oh, that's an anti, a dangerous one. Other Shy tries to step into the bubble, and Charge realizes this. Farway is so incredible on this Ana. These neutral fight win conditions that the Charge can depend on. They trapped Spark in Hotel. The Charge have acquired a take. Jimmy delivers a lethal headshot to Monk. Farway traded out by Leave. Charge are ahead in this, and they've left the objective to just secure the fight win against the Spark. Now the second tick and the last one remaining, as the Spark could recontest, but it's only Shy that's up in the window, so it will be a full cap by the Charge.
Yeah, Shy can play this vaguely safely, and we've got Leave in the back as well, ready for some guerrilla warfare. Choice here one might try and force the 1 versus 1 here, because it's in friendly territory where you could conceivably get more support from a Brigitte, but you know that Brig's got to try and stay on cart for as long as possible, which leaves Guangzhou Charge much weaker.
See how far the Charge can get with that 1 minute they started with. It's overtime, it's do or die. And you got a Pulse Bomb, the first ultimate from the Spark versus a Primal and Pulse from the Charge coming up rather soon, as the Charge will have their hand forced soon. At the back is Leave. Pulse barely dodged by Farway, but splashed onto Xerneas, as Farway needs to play his life to give maybe a fight-saving nano, but Piggy at least will lead the way with the Primal Rage. Choice A1 still hunting for a pulse of his own, and almost leaving the card is the Charge, who barely have any supports. Choice A1 tries to equalize this. Pulse's one support, Monk still lives and is untouched in this backline of the Spark. Choice A1 overwhelmed. Piggy steps up to give the bubble, but the Charge, it's just not likely that they can really go much further than this until respawns just favor them and the two remaining still push.
Choice A1 has never even heard of an automatic car. This guy is all clutch all the time. What an unbelievable performance from a Tracer. Not only did he get a stick on a rallying Brig and removes multiple people from the car, but also had to be the one who juggled the overtime when it is going down so bloody fast. And that was with an opening pick onto Xerneas as well. Leave must be fuming. Hangzhou Spark move over now onto Ramatra. They want to fight on cart. They want to get those pummels going from Guangzhou. And now Piggy's moved over onto a Diva of all things.
See if he can bully Guangzhou at this moment. Two-man anti from far away. Piggy reacts, is nanoed, pushes forward. A point B cap in sight of the charge. Can the Spark contest its leave? That saves this moment. The Spark have a chance to race forward and have his back. Shy picked off as Piggy's press is still on, but Guangzhou is still stalling the cart. Lynx is taking shots from Jimmy uncontested above. He decides to shield bash back. Guangzhou has enough health to stall this on his own. Spark's supports need to play their lives. This is how you can end Charge's push. Any further could be lethal for the Spark, but Choice A1 is a clutch master. The 3K to give Charge point B.
And this means a forward spawn has moved up as well for Guangzhou Charge. They don't have to go nearly as far now to try and continue contesting. Alas, in overtime, the respawns do take a whole lot longer. Piggy watching for the shield here from Guangzhou. The second that it's down, the rest of the team will be vulnerable to a well-placed self-destruct, but likely going to be played here for survivability instead.
And Guangzhou races to contest the cart. Charge put the pressure, but Piggy loses the mech. Self-destruct. Is he able to get back? Choice A1 doesn't have his back, and Piggy can't get back into mech either. Charge overextended and overplayed their hand, and the Spark will end this push. But I gotta say, Leg Day, it's still an incredible push. With 1 minute to go halfway to point C, is likely that Charge can win this map.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker for Spark fans. Credit to Lengsa. I think that Piggy managed to not get back into mech. I believe he was stunned out of the recall by Lengsa with the Brig Rally. I could be spreading misinformation on the internet, but here's a quick look at Choice A1 being the master of clutch. Look at how he has to try and play the overtime as well here. Like, there's so much on his plate. He is the last member remaining, playing the blinks perfectly, focusing on the movement, and then the aim comes through at the end. The mechanical prowess. This guy, I'm telling you right now, the MVP, it's not far-fetched. He's having himself a season.
Yeah, at the start of this, I felt like in the first round that Leave had more damage than Choice A1 on that Tracer, but Choice A1 just turned up, put his energy levels over 9,000. Choice A1, 32 elims, 20 final blows, 5 deaths at 15,000 damage. Leave sitting at 31 elims, 12 final blows, and almost 14,000 damage. So just right behind Choice A1. But the clutch factor that Choice A1 has, remember that 4K from Ilios? He's just doing it again on King's Row. He is just one of the best tracers in APAC.
Right now, Choice A1 is kind of putting on a Viper-esque performance with a team.
Yeah.
which is quite painful, to be honest. Oh.
They know where you live. They're coming for you for that one.
Oh,
ooh,
pain,
Jimmy.
Pain and suffering.
Jimmy punishes Jai, who just kept climbing up the wall at the same spot. Nice lineup on the headshot. Remember, Spark only had a 50-second advantage over the Charge, but this is a far push. And Spark, if it takes multiple fights to get the point like it did last time, it's going to be an overtime situation, and it has to be flawless.
Guangzhou Charge playing so disciplined as around. Hangzhou, they took about 3 minutes to try and cap this the first time around. Nowhere near as much time as that. On this next play, Choice A1 almost has a pulse from already. Unbelievable damage. He's just farming Guangzhou.
Spark have their sports sort of safe in hotel, but Piggy's at the one door, and Choice A1 probably at the other. Jimmy is pressured back by Guangzhou, but can't deliver the trade before the before the Piggy Choice A1 pain sandwich is delivered on a silver platter. Spark are sent back to spawn with 40 seconds left, but at least a tick on the board.
When Piggy says you come in from both doors, you obey the orders of Captain Crunch, and Crunch, Hangzhou certainly were. Still, coming up now on a Nano. The primary tool here to try and make some space. Hey, Shy's bow and arrow does just as well. Takes care of the time demon. And now there's an opening for Hangzhou to play with.
Finally, Spark can work on a fight with first blood in their favor for once. They have respawn advantage too, second tick. And not really any overextension to try and prevent the recontest until they spot Farway at the top window. Good execution from Guangzhou. And he just backhands Xerneas. No supports and no hope for the Charge. He had to invest in Nano for that, but I still agree with the call.
Yeah, but Bionade and Nano straight at once just eviscerates Farway. He only existed hypothetically in the path of that dive, but critically Guangzhou Charge, they're moving towards a critical mass of ultimates, and they've got fights to give here as well. It can force Guangzhou to use the Primal Rage, get lead to try and buy a fight with an early Pulse Bomb, and then once the overtime starts to tick down even faster as we get deeper into the run of overtime, you can try and just bring the critical mass to bear.
Look what choice one is. If Spark leave their supports unattended and very far from the rest of the team, you saw that on the map. Okay, they have group backup, but Monk is pulled!
No way!
And he runs in to shine the 2K! Choice it! One clutches again! And the Charge are up by 2 despite the rally deny from Lexa! Guangzhou will have the Primal, but how much time can he buy? How long can he survive? The early Xerdius C9 call as Guangzhou evaporates, and so do the Spark. The Charge go to match point.
Choi Se-won is a god amongst men. 6 deaths is all he had there. Everyone else on his team in double digits. 24 final blows, 40 eliminations. What an absolute manic performance. He has the patience of stone, the will of stars, and the power of a supernova resting in his hands. What a titan.
That push didn't go very far either. That 50-second advantage didn't help them out at all. Choi Se-won pushing Charge forward, pushing Charge to a match point. Can the Spark reverse this script from the last time? We'll find out after this break. Welcome back, everyone, to the Joedown. And unfortunately, the Joedown is almost over because the Charge are on match point after, a very fun to watch King's Row map.
Oh, that was an absolute blast. Shy putting on a clinic for the first half of the Hangzhou, and then Choice won. I said that he had the patience of stone and the will of stars, and he wills that Hangzhou Spark will not take our map and that history will repeat itself. And hey, the time loop continues, Lemon, as we head to our third and potentially final map. We are once again going to Havana, which means we're playing out the exact same map set where Guangzhou Charge previously swept the Hangzhou Spark, and except this time, Hangzhou's choosing to go to those maps.
It was a very close Havana map, though. Here are the stats from the Hangzhous, where we initially gave Shy a lot of credit on winning those duels. In terms of final blows against Jimmy, the damage was relatively close. I kind of stopped paying attention to the Hangzhous, I'm not going to lie, and was hyping up the Tracers. But Shy had a lot of final blows on that offense that gave Spark so many first bloods to allow them just to snowball throughout King's Row and gave them that 50-second advantage, but unfortunately for them, Shy wasn't able to have that same pop-off on that second round of offense.
Yeah, shut down a lot more adequately by Jimmy, who had a real rough start to the map. Like, when Shy was on one in the first half, Jimmy basically hadn't even installed Overwatch. He was still downloading assets. He was recompiling some shaders at that point. We head over now to Havana. I am going to confirm that King's Row and Havana, those were both picked by Guangzhou Charge after having lost them the previous time that they faced.
Or like Spark. Yeah.
Yeah, they were picked by the Hangzhou Spark. Despite the last time they went up against the Guangzhou Charge having lost them, I figured that maybe there was a little bit more precise counter-stratting going into those, but it seems like Guangzhou are just far more adaptable right now, able to try and roll with the punches no matter where Hangzhou Sparks try to lean to try and get their advantages.
Well, the last time these two faced on Havana, y'all know exactly what the Charge like to run. The Winston, the Tracer, the Hangzhou dive. Occasionally Piggy will swap to the Diva every now and then, but the friends of the Spark, they like that double flanker dive when it comes to Havana. That's what they played against the Charge last time. And the Spark were able to stop Charge's attack at point C, or right before capping C, and they almost pushed to that box of victory. That's why I think they're still confident that with a couple of more improvements, the Spark can pull out a win here, but the Charge have only swept teams in the qualifiers, except the Inferno, who are really... They consider their only challenge, but the Spark have prepared for this match and want to change the script.
You know what, the Inferno, they did get one over on Guangzhou Charge using the Wrecking Ball, using the secret tech of staying in ball form so that Jimmy can't headshot you. What a time it would be if Hangzhou Spark just, like, pulled out the emergency signing of the legendary ball player Among to come in midway through WrestleMania style. Alas, it's not going to be the case, but I do hope that Hangzhou Spark managed to find themselves a map here. I wish for a Joedown banger. I don't want it to be Jova.
I don't want it to be Jover either, but the Charge do. They'll be on defense, hanging around the gas station. Piggy jumps out, and Spark gets some initial space. They actually have Piggy slept, so nothing that they could really get a pick off of. But hey, charging up towards the Nano is usually the big win condition of these initial fights. I'm not seeing a full commitment until these Nanos come out.
Yeah, for now, poking, prodding. Piggy not wanting to pull out the classic Sigma here, instead playing towards Hangzhou Spark's game. And like I said, we are settling in towards this mirror on the Hangzhou that... Oh, hello. Nice catch there from Shy.
Yeah, Choice One and Jimmy got antied and dropped to critically low healths, but Spark had already jumped back and didn't have the jump cooldown to go and finish off those targets. There hasn't been any deaths yet, and we will be calling for a pause. So a deathless, killless game thus far. A lot of poking and prodding. And both Nanos at equal charge, so I really don't know who's going to come out ahead.
Oh, if we can leave it... Oh, no, we can't leave it screaming up. Wow, damn. Okay, well, up on the top right, we can see that Shy managed to claim control of that terrace, which is going to be very important to operate from, because you can play that so effectively as a Hangzhou, especially when you're playing with an Ana and a Brigitte as well, because it means you can consistently give your Ana free sight lines to heal you from relatively safe positions while you are using the pillars for cover, and it means that you also force the enemy Ana and Brigitte back towards the mega health pack. And when they're back towards that mega health pack, it allows for a much easier approach for the Winston, because the Brigitte has to kind of over peak in order to hit a well-timed whip shot on an engaging Winston. So control of that is going to be incredibly important to maintain for Hangzhou Spark as they continue to move forward.
And we got word that it's a Piggy mic issue, and he do like to yap, so we got to make sure that he can keep yapping. Because, of course, your Winston making those calls is so important. And remember the last time we heard from the Charge was the Faraway interview that we got to do, and we got to kind of figure out what are the comms like within the Charge. We're this half Korean, half Chinese team, I believe, right? And we were wondering, okay, they all speak in English, sure, and we're like, okay, who makes the calls in these fights? And Faraway just trusts his team that whoever thinks they're in a position to make a play, he is going to nano, which even at some points when we interviewed him in that match, came down to Choi Se-won.
Yeah, it's very democratic. Whoever, it's a meritocracy. It's so egalitarian. Whoever is in the best position to make use of a nano will be able to take it. They can kind of demand it of Faraway, and it's like, well, I'm going to trust you with this, and if it's a bad call, that's on you. And that kind of implicit trust in the teammates is something that maybe has been a real part of a recipe for Guangzhou Charge turning it around this year. Obviously, the inclusion of Piggy has been a big means for Guangzhou Charge to try and bring things back together. But Faraway finally being given teammates who've earned the trust to be able to dictate the strategy. Oh my goodness, that's brutal.
I trust these headshots though.
I trust them.
Xerneas dropping the shield just for a second. Leave hunts down Faraway. You got no supports, and the Charge never full committed to a fight, so they never stalled out this cart. And you were just depending on this nano generation, and Monk is now 15% faster than Faraway, so that's going to give Spark maybe an edge for the next fight too.
Hangzhou Spark's reverse sweep starts right here, Copium. But hey, it's more real than it's ever been. Choi Se-won building up towards that pulse bomb now, and Gushue is actually taking a good amount of damage here. Remember that that's no longer productive damage to be taken because Monk's already got themselves the nano boost. It's just going to be transformed into ult charge for Guangzhou.
See if Shy can hit that headshot like he did last time to open up these fights. That's why so many teams are running the Hangzhou. It's that neutral fight win condition, but Shy just was a little too greedy. He took a body shot and still stayed in the same position, didn't concede to get heals, and Charge realizes this. They nano Piggy, jump in and kill him. And to now keep Spark stuck at these choke points mean that Charge now have the edge in this fight.
Yeah, Guangzhou Charge listening into Coach Lemon. Yeah, so it's all about Shy getting an opening pick. I refuse to allow it. Still, though, Leave, real sneaky over here. Remember that there is plenty of those footsteps to be heard from the supports directly above them.
Oh, Faraway in trouble. Can Leave get the trade before the Charge do so in their backline? And so far, it goes the way of the defense. Choi Se-won with a 2K, almost getting the third before Langsa feeds them with the flail. Either way, this is a questionable rally from Langsa to try and preserve his own life, but trusted in Gushue in this primal to buy a few more seconds for the rally to come online in terms of generating that health. And it worked out for the Spark, despite getting 2K'd by Choi Se-won. Their reaction was that much better.
Yeah, that was egregious. Kind of Piggy really playing very riskily to not pop that primal rage, and then dies to the shield bash as well. So obviously that would have given over a stun that would stop popping the primal rage. Now you've got to try and move through these tiny doorways to actually gain access, and that's incredibly dangerous when you know that Shy's going to be camping these with a Dragon Strike.
When I might want to unleash it soon. I think he goes to the top right. Yeah, catches Faraway as he's climbing up the stairs, and Xerneas' rally doesn't have time to generate. You have no supports for this final point B defense of the Charge, and this snowball is turning into an avalanche for the Spark. Despite Charge winning that initial fight and maybe being able to hold these chokes, Charge overextended off of Choi Se-won's call of the 2K, and Spark punished that and roll over the Charge throughout point B.
And now Piggy's realized Gushue is becoming a big problem here. Moves to try and play more of a mitigation role on the tank. You can get those mid-air interceptions on the Winston to make sure that he doesn't reach his target. And now Shy, okay. Seeing this, what's the choice here? Over to the Widowmaker themselves, thinking, hey, if I'm going to be having my shots eaten, I might as well do them from longer range. Play off the hit scan. This is, of course, Shy's most legendary of heroes, where his mythos truly was crystallized.
A lot of free push for Spark halfway to C. Nano from the Charge, though. But having Piggy on the D.Va means he can't jump as far as he could on the Winston. Doesn't have the bubble. just the Matrix. And he's already pushed back by the initial jump of Guangzhou, who's depending on the nano to keep that going. Shy almost gets picked by Anana here. Farway's mechanics can't be understated. Two-man anti from Farway doesn't generate into anything, but Charge are fine, just keeping this at bay. The splash on the wall from the poles. Jimmy jumps out of it. Piggy is slept in Guangzhou. That's his time to shine. He's got the nano. He's glowing and slaying. Farway's gone. Can't give the nano. And Xerneas doesn't have Transcendence. Guangzhou is running this lobby.
Yeah, Guangzhou finally looking like the Primal Blade has returned. Lauded for years as the best tank in China. And now showing exactly why that was the case in a Winston meta that was basically purpose-built for he and Leave to move as a dynamic duo. Shy getting a couple of shots onto the little feetsies. No free headshot, though, as Guangzhou wakes up Piggy.
Yeah, with Farway and Xerneas coming out of spawn, you never know where Shy could do, but it's actually Guangzhou Charge that pick off both supports. Monk and Linksa dead means this kills this momentum push for the Spark that started to approach and breach into these castle gates. But as soon as Shy got pushed back by Choice A1, it's Spark that had too much going on at once.
Xerneas, of course, on the Zenyatta's going to bring a lot of pain for Guangzhou to the table. Oh, and never mind. Overpeaks, Shy punishes. Okay, Venom Mind kill, but Jimmy's going to be able to counter out here. Still, lots of damage done, Lemon.
Getting that headshot on the Guangzhou gets him almost to half health. Linksa able to generate the rally. Jimmy jumps back. Seems to be okay. Leave is focusing that damage onto Choice A1. A Tracer duel is taking place pretty deep inside a castle. Piggy got nanoed. Isn't woken up quite yet. Spark have 90 seconds to push to the end, and Jimmy just hasn't any space, and he can't jump out of the pulse bomb. He got stuck in the corner, and Shy is free. It's a gun range for that Widow on the offense. But Spark only have break heals, but during this brawl, it just might be enough. The respawn advantage from the Charge, plus the Xerneas Transcendence, though. Charge have the chance to restabilize, but they need to have presence on this cart and maybe try to get Guangzhou out of here.
Choice A1 cannot be allowed to clutch up again. It would absolutely break the Hangzhou Spark to be held here. Already their time bank has been crippled down to a singular minute by the defensive efforts of the Guangzhou Charge. Jimmy and Shy exchange shots. Remember, this is already a good push on Havana. An incredibly defensible area. A full completion would be a dream here as Guangzhou is almost geared up for an annihilation.
Just killing Monk in these fights has been huge. And now the headshot on Linksa and Shy too! Jimothy is at least missing a wedding for a good reason, because he's pounding this lobby, it seems. He's alive and well and married to the game. Charge have brought this down to a 21-second push for the Spark.
Disregard wedding. Acquire frags. A long-range love tap. Suffering from a damage drop-off, but Shy certainly is left with a little bit of a nasty haircut. An infrasight here is going to mean that Leaves approaches are going to be well checked during overtime. Even Linksa here going to be completely exposed by the infrasights of Jimmy.
At least Linksa on the Kiriko to try and save Monk a bit better. Although I do miss that brawl potential that he had on the Brigitte Annihilation from Guangzhou. The nano goes to Leave though, but Guangzhou is still healed back to full. Spark have Charge's backs against the wall. The Annihilation isn't doing enough damage to Piggy though, so he's just unmoved. Jimmy goes for a headshot onto Shy. Oh my god, he's doing it again, and Piggy is still unmoved on the cart. Both Widows removed. 4v4 respawn advantage for the Charge. Self-destruct right on the, actually at the back of the cart. Monk dodges that just barely. Likes to teleport it to the front of the battle. And the Spark, it's just nails against a chalkboard to try and get this cart to the end, to the finish line. Kitsune rush. It's deja vu from the last Havana where Spark could not complete the map at this very section. It'll be up to Jimmy again to maybe save this for the Charge, as both Widows are back into the picture. But Jimmy gets pulsed by Leave. He's had enough of this, and the Charge are down for the count. There's only Xerneas left, and now no one. Spark will be capping.
No resurrections and no miracles this time from Choice A1. By the skin of their teeth, by a well-timed swap to the Kiriko and a well-built Kitsune. We do see...
Okay.
Oh, yep.
Guangzhou has 0 deaths. Speaking of that. Guangzhou too strong. Piggy is not wrong. Guangzhou is a beast.
I mean, hey, I can't imagine how many people got into.
He's like, what about me? 15-1. How about me?
Yo, notice me? Smile?
I'm noticing this though.
Can someone arrest this man? Like, there's no way that's legal. I'm gonna need a lawyer.
Do more.
How does Piggy know that?
How does he know that? Can he count?
No, the scoreboard, Lemon, the scoreboard.
Oh, I forgot.
He's just pressed tab, bro. He's got the text.
I was like, I have all the numbers here. Has he hacked into the system? It's been a hot second. It's also 3 a.m.
New user has logged into your device.
Honestly, my brain is the new device. How does he know he has the critical information? But also critical information of Guangzhou being on Ramatra and is posting up on gas station, not even hiding the fact that they're running rush and going for a spawn camp.
Giga Chad. No need for subterfuge, no need for hiding it. Leave here playing the Mei and Shy. This is a full like tank diff in terms of how effective these DPS are going to be. They're going to be so good at shutting down Piggy. This means that there's going to be a lot on the shoulders of Jimmy and Choice One to try and find some well-placed duels.
But the Mei enables Guangzhou so much better, both defensively and offensively. Langsa dead, though, because the flank potential of Choice One is just too much, along with the antis that far away creates these win conditions. But the front battle seems to be favoring Spark so far. Piggy is not getting enough assistance because Jimmy needs space to work with on the Hangzhou, and he's back to spawn.
Xerneas wall riding into that ice wall reminds me of like getting locked out of your own house. Mom, can you come open the door? I left my keys on the side. Oh, Guangzhou Charge once again. Gonna try and pressure out Guangzhou here, but oh no, he's stuck.
And Maywells have to be used just to climb over each other there, so there's no isolation technique thus far. Guangzhou playing the cart well. It's an anti on the far away that punishes Guangzhou. That's one way to remove a tank, but Piggy is surrounded by like all 4 members of the Spark. But Charge, once Choice One was left untouched, swapped to the Mei and ended up helping out this front lane do a lot better.
Oh my goodness, everybody and their wife coming for Shy today. He will not be surviving. However, Hangzhou Spark did not invest in that spawn camp. They simply used it to drain out the time bank. Now they're moving in with 4 ultimates, including both an EMP and a Blizzard. And there's not really much that can be used here to save Piggy should the Blizzard come down. You're going to be relying on Choice One to potentially wall off anyone who would try and put in the damage towards Piggy, and Xerneas needs to build a sound barrier.
Alright, EMP from Shy. He's got a pretty good group up here. Lands it on 3. Far away just explodes. Xerneas didn't have the barrier in time. And Piggy and friends trying to concede this. Annihilation invested 2 from Guangzhou, but he gets blizzarded from Choice One, getting the call from Xerneas that this is a winnable fight with the sound barrier, and Farway is not too far behind with respawns. Piggy is frozen by the counter blizzard of Leave. Ult after ult. Charge, meter by meter they go. But less than 2 minutes to do so, they'll have to push this without a tank against Guangzhou.
Unlucky on the wall there. An attempt to try and get some stagger kills here with a slow from a cryogenic blaster. However, they will not come through. That was so well coordinated from Charge to try and play that without an Ana with you when you're lacking that much healing is crazy. Yet they do make it work. Now they'll re-engage with a rally here from Langsa.
Well, Langsa stun up Xerneas. Piggy is slept. Choice One is nanos. Well, whoever can clutch at the right moment, they make the call, but aren't able to deliver the kills without Piggy. That probably should have gone to him at the end of the day, maybe.
Yeah,
that's what was
should have gone on to Piggy. he can punch through the barrier of the rally. Jimmy blocked off from healing by the wall. Very intelligent from Leave. And now only 50 seconds remain, Lemon. This is very precarious territory for the Guangzhou Charge. Hangzhou Spark have looked to move us from the time loop, but Leave gets picked by Farway. This guy entry frags too much for an Ana. He's Jonakin.
Blizzard from Choice One. He got a 5v4. Charge should definitely press this advantage, especially with 35 seconds left. There's a split, though, from the Spark. They have their supports unprotected on this side. Piggy identifies that, is pounding Langsa to death. Blizzard is thrown on the left side. Charge divide and conquer. They Blizzard Guangzhou and kill him. And Spark just don't have a chance to really retake this at all, especially when they don't touch.
Monk getting a little bit goofy here now to make sure that they get a reset and can move out with their team, but Guangzhou Charge, by the skin of their teeth, they've done it, Lemon. Still, that was Langsa stop throw.
Wow.
Dude, Piggy's doing psyops.
Why was he in that quarter anyway? I mean, I don't know. But Spark were split up, and Charge punished that heavily. Now going to point B, though, with not that much time. That costed Charge quite a bit of fights. But EMP from Shy hits 2. Choice A1 and Xerneas stuck. Shy, I believe, was slept. Either way, Monk gives the nano to Langsa, but this backline is not the only thing that's in trouble. The Spark are just dead in the water. And it's only Leave up there by himself, and that'll be all she wrote. The Charge move forward.
Yeah, suddenly Jimmy just takes over a match. Quick look at the replay here. Farway popping off as he has. Definitely Farway is the unappreciated carry of this roster. Oh, this is actually a bad nano wants a choice of one. Curious choice of replay. I guess they wanted to put it onto Piggy, but the wall blocked it off, and that's why Farway made that decision.
Choice A1 is hacked, though. Needs to be careful. Might not even have the ice block. The blizzard from Leave, did it get canceled? No, okay, it got thrown. Piggy is slept, and the Annihilation is slowed down. He's left at the front of the cart, but Gushue is behind them. Charge have to peel for the supports. Xerneas is missing. Can't give that sound barrier. It's up to Farway to carry this fight if he's even here at all. Or Jimmy on the top left to give these final blows. Langsa with the rally can't save this team, and Charge are meters away from capping B. There's a last chance recontest from the Sombra and from Gushue, but it's just not looking good. But I guess Spark just play their lives so carefully. Charge don't have the focus. This should have been a Charge fight.
Monk plays his life so well up there. Oh, oh, speak of a devil, and he shall appear. Still, Jimmy won't be able to get any more than that with 30 seconds remaining. Once again, Guangzhou Charge are up against the wall, but Hangzhou Spark, they used everything they had to try and make that fight work, and that's why we see Shy just farming so audaciously at the moment to try and get up towards the EMP, because they need something to stand against the absolute armada of armaments that has been acquired by the Guangzhou Charge for this potentially final fight.
Well, Choice A1 is... Where is he? Okay, he's out on the card. He was kind of split off from Charge's push on the right. I was a little concerned. Blizzard from Choice A1 is the big win condition against Shy's EMP. The Blizzard is thrown on the left. This will freeze at least 2. Gushue down. Shy throws the EMP, but it's only Leave that's alive to feed into this damage, and he gets a 1-for-1 trade, but Charge with the Annihilation and the extra investments in this fight will give Charge point B, but at a huge cost and with only 90 seconds to complete the map.
A huge cost of 3 ultimates there, Lemon. And everyone knows that Havana, the woes of the attack have only just begun. Your TV lets well. They're not wrong. Xerneas is currently 12 deaths. 5 final blows to 12 deaths. Hey, he's got 18 of them, so he's still on a positive KD. Of course, Langsa and Xerneas, I believe former teammates on the Chengdu Hunters. They split some time on Mercy, if I can remember correctly. They were jostling for Jinwoo's affections.
Well, how about this for affection? A Dragon Strike right to the face, but Gushue is antied. Does bring the block back up. Annihilation, I think he got slept. Hopefully not woken up for the sake of the Charge. But you poke the bear, and guess what happens? Gushue's coming for your spawn room doors.
Check out how Langsa played that as well against Piggy when he was frozen. Wrapping around behind the Ramatra meant that with the wide shield, he could actually body block, or rather with his Brigitte shield, he could body block any heals coming in as well as with his body. So great positioning.
Piggy halfway down on HP, able to get back into spawn. Careful of these Maywalls from Leave if he wants to deny that route of exit. Langsa has the rally. Shy with an important headshot onto Jimmy. I'm just surprised that Jimmy's on Widow at all in the situation that he's in with no space. Charge try to creep up in these side rooms, but Spark hunts each individual down with the 90 seconds that the Charge have. They lost all the fights, lost their marbles, and the Spark have started to rewrite this chapter where initially they lost this to the Charge, and the Spark will be holding Charge at bay to take this map and climb back in the series.
No sweep today, Lemmy. You know what they say about the Joe down? It ain't Jova till it's Jova, baby. Xerneas, yes, as Langsa so eloquently put, ended up 18 and 14. Not a glorious map for Xerneas, But still, Hangzhou Spark, plenty to be celebrated there. What a performance as well from Leave coming out 35, 16 final blows, 8 deaths, and Gushui being almost deathless, or actually deathless during their complete attack. Great positioning on the Ramatra, not just a Winston player.
Okay, for the Xerneas cope here, tell Shy to leave him alone then, because as soon as Xerneas would drop shield on Brigitte to throw a flail, Shy would headshot him. Like, Shy just has had Xerneas' number, like, every single time. Monk, too, has been taking so much pressure on the other side when it came to the offense with Spark at the end of Castle C. It's been a fight, but Spark obviously made the improvements on Havana to make this a not-so-close situation and a map win on Havana. So finally, the Charge will have their choice of map coming up.
Yeah, Charge are finally going to be able to dictate what geography we go to. Unfortunately, on push, the options can be somewhat limited. I imagine that they're likely going to try and avoid Esperanza because it's a little bit more RAM-friendly. I think the most likely is probably going to be New Queen Street, where you can really lean into those hit scans. But we'll find out all of the reality that we're going to be living in right after this break.
The Spark have pulled through on Havana after a lengthy defense on point A to just shrivel this charge time bank to nothing so that they couldn't even get to the end of the map like they did before, and turning around that deja vu from last time they faced off. It won't be a sweep for the Charge today.
I'm going to return to my previous copium, but now with reinforced hope. The Hangzhou Spark reverse sweep could have started right on Havana. We can still go all the way to 5 maps. It's anybody's win as fan. Remember, we are in the upper bracket, so this is by no means the end of the Joe Down saga. There's still an Act 2 and Act 3 yet to go as we close out our introduction here. Guangzhou Charge, they get to pick where we go for push. And likely going to be leaning in towards more of this Winston gameplay because they're looking pretty good when it comes to trying to trade those Winstons. Here's a quick look at our Ana stats. Farway, of course, exceeding in every metric. He is simply the bomb.
Farway is such a huge part of the Charge. It must be hard to shine on this roster when you have Jimmy popping heads left and right. You got Choice in One hitting 4Ks, pulse bombs that win, your King's Row. You got Piggy MTDing and writing C9s. And then you sometimes forget about the support line. Even though Xerneas gets roasted sometimes, you think about Farway and these anti-grenades, who have been a huge part of winning these neutral fights for the Charge. Just 1 or 2 man antis are enough to signal Piggy to jump in, and getting those first or second kills is what helps them get the point on King's Row or to snowball onto control.
Still, even with Monk not being able to exceed Farway stats, the remainder of the Hangzhou Spark were able to absolutely put on a barn burner on Havana. Leave in particular, popping off, and well, if Leave is feeling it now, if Leave has finally reached his zenith, he's reached the axis of his orbit at the highest point, we may well see some Tracer dominance as we head over onto Push, which is, of course, continuously dominated by Tracers and the objective play. This could actually come down to a battle of wits and a battle of minds between Choice One and Leave, which is exactly what I wanted when I head into this matchup. A lot of people love the hit scandal, the Jimmy versus Shy, but I love the Tracers.
I just had this galaxy brain moment where I was like, oh, Monk's wearing glasses, Farway's wearing glasses, I wear glasses, I also play Ana. And that's just the thing I wanted to point out.
well, Ana would wear a monocle if she too was a spectacle enjoyer.
Are we all blind? Yeah, even Ana's kind of blind. So
Ana's had one of her eyes shot out by Widowmaker.
check
out the Overwatch comics, by the way. They're real good. You can find out why Ana does wear that eye patch. Also, a couple of Overwatch novels coming out recently. I've got to get my hands on those. Give those a read. And there's a Sojourn one that got released. Not seeing much Sojourn here today, though. When it comes to the flexes, it's generally mostly Hanzo. We saw a dalliance on the Ashe for both of our Jimmy and Shy hit scans over on Ilios, but it was fairly ill-fated for the Hangzhou Spark, as 20, who came into play Diva, was unable to really shut down Farway, and that meant that Jimmy was just constantly supported, pumped full of heals. And you know what? I think that I've never felt safer than having both Farway and Monk staring at me. To such adept Anas, I feel like no matter what happens to me, I'm going to get healed through this.
I wish we got a round 2 point C of Havana to get the Shy versus Jimmy Widow off again. Because Jimmy definitely won that, but then Jimmy won the map. Or sorry, Shy won the map. So who's the real winner out of all of this? Well, at least Guangzhou win in regards to picking their next map, which they've opted for Colosseo.
This is likely going to be an exchange of Winstons here. The Ramatra can have a bit of a struggle just trying to play up against the high grounds that are so defensively viable for both teams as you try and stop that bot moving under the bridge, which you can still contest from on top of, which I certainly have some opinions about that I won't share. It's certainly a decision that was made. As we head over now into the map, I'm excited to see if we are going to be leaning more into the Jimmy versus Shy on the Hanzos. Of course, both players have had their moments, but Sombra is a large part of the tempo that you've come to expect on Push. Shy doesn't seem to be opting into it, though, which makes me a happy boy.
Oh, yeah. Are we going for the dive mirror? Because it'd be great to settle the score on who's the better Winston. Is it Piggy? Is it Go Shui? I know Piggy had
Can
some
you
mad
imagine?
respect for Gushue. What?
If you asked that question at the beginning of 2023, people would say you have room temperature IQ.
Yeah. My brain would be on low power mode, or low battery mode,
Energy
which it already
saving
is.
mode.
I forgot about the scoreboard, so I'm charging it back up. Okay, I've got my caffeine, and we have a mirror matchup, which I'm excited to see. We haven't seen really that much double flanker from Spark. Something they've been really known for throughout this season. We saw it a bit on Ilios, and then, you know, they didn't win that. So, obviously, Shy has been being able to go toe-to-toe with Jimmy and Spark. Collapse onto this backline. They hit the sleep on the Piggy before he could exit. Jimmy hits a 2K and somehow equalizes this. Can't hit the final 3 on Monk. And through all the dust, through the fire and the flames, Spark are on top.
I think that a microcosm of this entire series lies in both of the Brigitas dying first. We see Lengsa overextending with a shield bash to try and get the final blow onto Xerneas and then dying in turn. What a shot from Shy. Still on form from Havana, you know, and continues hitting those headshots to just farm up towards the Dragon Strike. Unwilling to be outdone by Jimothy.
Yeah, 3 final blows to 2 final blows in favor of Shy. So these Hanzos definitely having a huge impact. And even Monk's sleep on the Piggy to prevent them from escaping is big, as the Spark now have a fight going down outside of pillars. So how Charge protect their supports from this incoming dive is going to be important. Spark's supports, on the other hand, have a lot of protection in this long hallway. Choice A1 picked off at a distance as he goes to approach, giving Spark a 5v4, and with Nano, Gushue is looking for a target, gets flailed back by Xerneas, but the Nano's still given over. Spark are taking up a lot of real estate as they hunt down this backline. They backhand Xerneas, and Farway's waiting for his chance to counterattack. Dodges the pulse, gives the Nano to Piggy, but he's kind of on his lonesome until Choice A1 comes back from spawn. Primal at the end to get the elimination onto Shy, and the Charge are starting to come out ahead in this fight.
Oh, isolates Monk, but you can't remove the glass, and you can't dive through it either. Gushue, long range anti here. Choice A1 needs to stop getting first fragged in these fights. He has been absolutely discombobulated by Shy again and again, and now Leave's got his number as well, just making sure that that bot cannot reset towards any sort of progress for the Guangzhou Charge.
Well, a stop at 52 meters as the Spark can depend on Shy to get headshots again, like when Choice A1 extended into this pillar's side, takes the initial damage. Choice A1 has to recall. The Charge have some bot control. Shy with the Dragon Strike can split up this fight. He has the Sonic, he knows exactly where Jimmy is, and sends Gushue with that information to at least take him out of the fight. Piggy isn't really allowed to jump back, and he's finished off. Gushue is MTDing right now.
Gushue, the Primal Blade has left its sheath. 1,000-folded Gorilla Steel has landed upon the shoulders of the Guangzhou Charge, and unlike Atlas, they cannot bear the weight of the world that Hangzhou Spark brings down upon them. A Dragon Strike now gives over a huge amount of room if it's needed, but the butt scratch is going to be completed without incident. This is going to give forward spawn over to Hangzhou Spark so he can continue storming forward.
Spark are so good at just messing up Piggy's exit, either with the sleep, the flail, the primal. Gushue with first nano. Farway needs to come into contact with someone for his own nano, but I guess Gushue didn't threaten them enough. Farway is aware of Gushue being behind him, gives the nano to Piggy to go for a counter dive, as Choice A1 will get the hunt onto Shy. And Leave trace that out onto Xerneas. It's a 4v4, and by the way, the bot is still pushing. Choice A1 is so busy getting kills and not anchoring the objective that this is getting extremely out of hand for Spark.
Yeah, the bot's still getting all of that push. Is absolutely brutal. Leave just trolls it even more, which is going to ensure the remainder of his team gets those forward spawns, and maybe even himself as well, which is likely going to make sure that Guangzhou Charge won't even get a single meter off of this fight win. All they're going to be able to do is reset to neutral, and remember, if that bot can be contested before it actually hits the midpoint, you can keep the forward spawn as well if anyone gets picked early.
Charge haven't even won a fight. They sort of neutralized a fight on some of their counter dives, but not a clean one yet. Haven't gotten a single meter. Still plenty of time. 5 minutes. Primal Pulse. No kills yet for the Charge, and Piggy dangerously low. Leaf has the pulse. sees the clump of the Charge backline. Jimmy jumps over the walls and then back over, but Guangzhou hops to the other side, kills him in time. Charger still up by 1, but for how long? Zerny is barely being kept up by Farway with Leave and Guangzhou on top of him. Fantastic sleep, fantastic peel from Farway, and Leave taken away as Charge gets the meterage done.
Call Farway a pair of cargo shorts, because this man pockets, and he pockets hard. Xerneas was absolutely torn apart by Hangzhou Spark, saved but for the grace of the Ana. A well-placed nano here is going to be interrupted by a nicely done whip shot from Langser, and that's going to minimize the overall damage coming through from Piggy. Just buy some space and some push, but Spark aren't overly bothered about this.
Yeah, Piggy is more of a distraction so that Charge can get forward spawns, so that Piggy summons all this attention to get the damage towards him. But this Dragon Strike gets Charge off of the card, so they're not able to keep up that progress. And a shy headshot on the far way just kills this fight. Charge do not want to take this without his heals.
A couple of quiet fights for Shy to rest, and he's back up at full energy. Recharged, and Choice here one and Leave now both jostle for position as the bot is going to be claimed. And you know that Piggy has to back off to make sure that Farway is going to be in range to heal this. And for now, Hangzhou Spark, they simply push the bot a little bit far away, then return to the safety of these catacombs.
Yeah, you don't have to go for 100 meters plus if you're the Spark. The fights get so much more dangerous, especially for your supports, once you leave that pillar side and go towards bridge. So Spark are very smart about this win condition. And Jimmy takes out Leave. Charge with a 5v4. Now can go into the pillars, this long hallway, to see what else they can scrounge up besides the first kill onto Leave. What else? Piggy doesn't want to be too aggressive, especially without Guangzhou being removed from this right side. I think Leave might still be there too. Either way, pulls onto Shy. That's another great start from the Charge. Slowly but surely, they can make their way out of here.
Choice here one seeks vengeance, and vengeance tastes real sweet when you're going after a Hangzhou Spark. Pink and lemony flavor. It's just brutal.
Oh boy.
I can already...
I can hear like the remove the glass copy pasta. Of course, I look at Charge already tweeting about it. Memes on point. But who will be laughing? Because Charge... Charge are still down about 50 meters, but the push is healthy, and so are the kills. Jimmy wins the Hangzhou duel, sets up in the building with Piggy, ready to dive in, who has Nano available too to work with. Spark need to go for a counter dive here. The Dragon Strike forces the supports of the Spark in this open position, as Piggy can overstay his welcome. He has the Primal, doesn't want to afford a headshot and go out early. Guangzhou receives a nano second. He's on top of Farway and Xerneas. Neither team have lost anyone quite yet until the focus fire favors Spark. And it's a 5 versus 3 to halt the push of the Charge right before the forward spawns.
And continually focusing in on this objective and making sure that Guangzhou Charge cannot get that essential checkpoint, but would have given them some real relief in being able to get those forward spawns. And now Hangzhou Spark, having expended both their support ultimates in that previous round, they do have a dearth of ultimates to try and work with here, including the Dragon Strike, which is going to be super important for clearing bridge when it's used to try and contest this bot.
As long as Spark keep winning fights before forward spawns, at the neutral point, they're just wasting Charge's time, and eventually this initial 94 meters that the Spark have may just be enough to force the game 5, unless the Charge can win back-to-back fights, which have been the difficulty, especially with Shy hitting these random headshots. We'll see how the Ultimates fights go. The Guangzhou knocking people to the Dragon Strike. He gets slept before he could get really a good setup going for that, but I like the attempt. Guangzhou extremely low, trying to get past the Piggy bubble. Does reconnect with the supports. Spark will heal back up and try to dive again.
But a moment of passivity here for Guangzhou Charge. They're waiting for Farway to return so that Piggy can once again return to those backline dives of proper support. Choice here one holds on to the recall. The same can't be said for Leave. Just going to set him at a considerable disadvantage. But going down this long corridor against Shy always bears danger.
Spark are good at contesting this cart too without needing to commit to a fight. Like we've said, just slowing down the roll of the Charge is A smart move from the Spark, forcing the hand of the Charge, who have a Pulse and a Dragon, just a ton of ults coming up. But even through the trade of ultimates, the Charge haven't netted a flawless fight yet. Guangzhou jumps in with Nano, Shy finishes off Piggy, and now nothing holds back Guangzhou from going even further and above and beyond, especially with Leave there. Never mind, Jimmy headshots him, and Shy gets his revenge. The Dragon Strike right in the middle of this fight from Jimmy causes disruption for the Spark. Fantastic pulse from Choice1, and he gets nanoed by Farway. He's gonna clutch it for the Charge again.
Oh, not once more. Choice1, he wants to ascend up towards that grand finals, try and get the spot on mid-season madness, but there's so much further for Guangzhou Charge to go. Remember, in overtime, those spawns are going to be even longer. And without getting that forward checkpoint here, those spawns are going to take bloody long time for Guangzhou Charge to return. Meanwhile, Hangzhou, this is all going to be done in home turf. They can play this as slowly as they would like, and they can still contest from the top of the bridge as well, which is going to be a real pain.
Jimmy can peel for Farway too. He's trying to stay in LOS of Piggy. He has the Primal. He's okay for now. Forward spawns, though, being contested. I think that's Langsa there. Forces Choice1's recall, too, so you can't remove Spark, at least not easily. And Piggy didn't get the Xerneas rally, and there is no Xerneas rally anymore. Leave and Shy coordinate too well. The Charger only down by 1, but there's no tank to initiate. It's Guangzhou in your back line, and it's Spark on their way to a Game 5.
The reverse sweep continues its siren song, and it's such a sweet melody for the Hangzhou Spark fans. The worries must have been mounting to critical levels after we went through the time loop. Somehow, King's Row slipped through their fingers. Havana looked like it could have been anybody's game, but Shy has continued to evolve, continued to iterate. And now that he's out of Sombra jail and he's been able to fly free on the Dragon Lord, Hanzo, he is flying on some golden, resplendent wings.
Felt like the map was over in the first, 2 minutes, where Spark got this initial 94 meters and then just played the stall contest game, which is maybe boring for people watching, but so intelligent if you actually care about the game, because that's exactly how Spark needed to play this game to stop Charge from getting back-to-back fights. Even just holding ults when you're the Spark until after the neutral point and winning the Pillars fight afterwards, Spark were only able to win 1 fight and never 2 and 3. And this is Spark with 2 map wins with a reverse sweep on the line. We'll find out what the result of this series is after this break. get your popcorn, or maybe your breakfast. I don't know where you are in the world, because it's Game 5 in the showdown. The last time these two teams faced, it was a sweep in favor of the Charge, and you gotta commend the improvements, the changes that the Spark have made since then to potentially cause a reverse sweep.
The mental fortitude that requires Lemon is immense, but this is why you've got all of these veterans who've been playing competitive Overwatch since time immemorial. Leave, I believe, back in 2016 on Miraculous Youngster, maybe 2017, was at the peak of his game in Chinese Overwatch. And if this is not the encore match later, you American, up late to watch this, you have a responsibility, now your duty, to tell your friends to watch this VOD, because the Showdown, no matter who wins, is delivering fantastic Overwatch and is an ambassador for what APAC can be at the upper echelons of competition.
Oasis as our next map. I'm stoked because, of course, we go back to Control. I don't think 20 is coming in. Either way, it's going to be a dive mirror, of course, unless we go to University. But I'm wondering if we're going to see Spark bring out the Sombra ever again, because the last time we saw it, it was on Control, and that Mega Pack Control is very important. But honestly, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Spark have been winning without playing the Sombra, and have lost when they played the Sombra, so Shy is currently hovering on it.
That's math. That's math, Lemon. They've won without the Sombra. They've lost with the Sombra. And yet, here I am staring at Shy and Spawn on Sombra. Admittedly, it's much better suited to Control than to other setups, but this does mean that Jimmy's going to have a lot less to worry about at long range, and we'll have an extended poke phase where they are less worried. The speediest of rollouts, of course, given courtesy of the Symmetras, and now there's going to be a battle for the high ground between Piggy and Guangzhou, while Shy likes to control the margins.
Getting this high ground, just winning the initial battle for your Hangzhou is massive. It's so hard to attack into this point of gardens. Hack at the back, though. Xerneas in trouble. The focus so good from Shy and friends, even with Guangzhou diving on top. This is a flawless fight from the Spark.
Taking such an amazing time to make that engagement happen. Oh, Piggy. That's one of the last places you want a taser to be hitting, and yet Guangzhou continues to do it. Brutality. And now, of course, Shy, plenty of confidence to continue going for that poke to set up for the EMP. Guangzhou Charge, this is not a great place to be fighting against for Sombra. You can get caught up in those stairways so easily. A 2 versus 1 likely here for choice say 1. As Shy is going to continually be helping out Leave on setting those up.
Oh, Anti on the length, Charge. Still trying to commit to this dive. Piggy jumps back, actually. Smart move, playing his life. Charge, healed back up. Diving up to the high ground, but no one's really home. The Spark had already evacuated to the hallway. A little bit of spy checking too from Jimmy. He's not crazy, I swear, but Shy is clearly a threat. Piggy is anti too, receiving every one of those from Monk. And Spark, the longer this fight goes, the more they benefit, whether it's to generate the nano or more percentage on this point now, reaching 50% in the Charge. Just haven't eliminated a single person from the Spark yet.
An exclamation mark going to be hitting this though with the EMP. Drains 400 health away from Piggy. That has to be answered with the nano.
Good pulse from Leave with the rally too. He can be so much more aggressive with more cushion, and Charge just continue to be pressured by this nano Leave Tracer. But Pulse from Choice in One, he is of course shining bright, but needing to clutch more than ever. Good flail from Xerneas. Didn't get that guy off the map, it seems. Leave is still back here for some reason, and Charge might just be able to flip the point until Guangzhou's back to dive some more.
Well, soon you'll see Farway returning. At least both the animals are picked off early in the fight. Jimmy said enough of these Sombra shenanigans. Apaganda Lazlusis knocks his lights out. Still, though, they haven't been able to flip yet, Lemon.
Oh, 90. This has been one fight that has lasted forever. And Charge have had a total of 3 eliminations throughout this extended phase. Piggy is getting MTD'd. Spark are just on fire today. They know the potential of this reverse sweep is in their hands. They want that revenge against the Charge, who have been this favorite team in Overwatch League as the #1 seed. It's Spark coming in as the 3rd, but it's Spark with 100-0 in our Game 5 Round 1, and Leave continues to type.
Guangzhou and Leave yet to die, and Shy is going to take part in it now. Oh, Guangzhou Charge have only been to a map 5 once. this season up against Soul Infernal did not go their way. They don't want to be building up a troubling map 5 record. Something, I believe a Philadelphia Fusion used to have a bunch of map 5s, but very few of them, ending in success. Now, of course, known as Soul Infernal, Guangzhou Charge heading over now to a map that's a little bit less hospitable for Sombra, but now that Shy's won a map on the Sombra, there's no more stigma. And he can still bring out the Hangzhou to try and mix and match with Jimmy at any point he would like. This will give a little bit more safety over to Far, where he can once again try and make this work.
Speed advantage is really big for Spark, just to have this coast side, setting up your Hangzhou in this position, just like the top of Gardens, having this high ground, having the range, the exposure to the entirety of the point is a big power position for Shy. But on the counter side of things, Jimmy can counter rotate to the mini side, has less great sightlines to work with. And as Spark have now access to the backline, they jump towards Farway and Xerneas. They don't get an execution, and they jump right back. And as Charge has some room to breathe, they fire back, they bite back, they kill Langsa, they sleep Gushue. And that is a great reaction from the Charge.
Yeah, I don't understand why Langsa went over onto the, away from Rubagita in this particular case. It did mean that there was very little to try and stop Piggy from causing havoc in the back line. Leave. Oh my goodness, 2? He's still yet to die this map, and he's still trying to play this one out as Piggy is forced to flee. Look for heals here, Lemon. And this will be a very quick flip in favor of a Hangzhou Spark. Leave has finally returned to his prime form. The MVP Leave that we all know and remember. Hi! In match chat. You remember me?
No. Who Megalol?
Don't care, didn't ask who.
Hoping he's just saying hi to his mom, Spark. Maybe saying hi to the other team. Hello and goodbye. Farway gone. A fantastic pulse from Leave, who clutched up the last fight and is leading the charge for this one too. Spark just have to keep this up. 31% plus. If they win this round, they'll have the reverse sweep, and the Charge are shaking in their boots.
This is terrifying for the Guangzhou Charge fans. They thought they were number 1 seed. They thought they were safe. Xerneas isn't.
Gushue's like, maybe I don't want that smoke. I got antied. I'm heading back, especially when Monk was starting to get chased around by Choice A1. Gushue playing things smartly. He has the Primal too, so he can go back in whenever he wants, even without the Nano. Charge have Piggy in a dangerous situation. He has Primal. He's gonna pop it early at the half health mark. Dodges asleep from Monk. Piggy could jump back in. Langsa has to activate the rally to help Monk out, or maybe just preserve his own life while Piggy is threatening the field. Dragon Strike from Jimmy to split things up and cause the chaos. Spark still have control of the point, 72% plus, and they're winning the fight.
What an anti from Monk. Leave is still yet to die, by the way. Currently sitting at 15. 5 final blows, 0 deaths. Guangzhou Charge have absolutely run out of steam. I don't know what kind of batteries Guangzhou Charge are running on, but they are flat at the moment. And now Leave. Oh, he's in the corner. Sneaky beaky with a pulse bomb in hand. He could end this here.
Oh, he hears Choice A1, who also has a pulse too. Blinking back though, Xerneas has his back to Leave, who creeps up. He has the bubble to work with. It splashes. Charge don't have Xerneas. Final fight for Spark to complete the reverse sweep to go to the grand finals to guarantee themselves top 2. And the Charge will have to do this with only Farway heals, but he's close to Nano. And Piggy's on the Diva to have that fast mobility in and out of these fights, but they don't have Jimmy. Another carry. It has to be Choice A1 who puts the cape on, but Piggy doesn't have a mech! And Spark didn't even have to try in this Oasis! The momentum, the wind in their sails, because they go to the grand final!
Leave exits for lobby untouched, unbesmirched, and unsullied. Not a single death, ending 17-6
Leave.
and 0. He's pogging out of his mind right now. And I am too. What a reverse sweep, Lemon. What a sweep.
I want to give player of the match to everyone. Leave is just posting a vlog live. Just, hey guys, it's the team here. I'm going to leave the expletives out, but just turned on Charge, reverse sweat. Hit that like and subscribe.
I am somewhat flabbergasted, and you can tell that Guangzhou Charge are as well. This isn't the end of their tournament journey, no. This is only the winners' finals. But still waiting for them below. Dreamers and Poker Face, neither of those teams to be underestimated, and they would have to fight their way back as well and defeat Hangzhou Spark after being summarily executed in a reverse sweep once again. Oh, it's going to be weighing on their minds, but a monkey off their back and a monkey in the back line of the Guangzhou Charge for Hangzhou Spark. They've finally beaten the 3-0 accusations.
With a reverse sweep, too, I can't believe my eyes. Not that I was so sure, but, you know, when you're in a 2-0 spot, the last time was a sweep, you're like, it's closer, but it's heading that same direction, deja vu, but there's one player that assured that it wouldn't be. Honestly, it was hard to pick when it comes to the Hangzhou Spark, but Shy is your player of the match, kept Jimmy in his place on the Hanzo, and just made the magic happen.
Just a wizard with the bow and arrow. And even bringing out a Sombra that managed to win a round. We thought that it would be a stigma that would last Shy this entire mid-season Madness circuit. But instead, finally finding his man on both the Sombra and, of course, where we know he's at his best. A good EMP here as well. Even if Ruins did eventually go the way of the Guangzhou Charge, I do think that we finally saw the consistency from Hangzhou Spark we've come to expect. And even though Guangzhou Charge are an incredibly clutch team, you cannot beat the consistency that Shy brings to the table on these hit scans.
And cute tech with Shy on the Tracer earlier on in that clip on Ilios well, where he places the pulse behind the Brig and then blinks to the other side so that she turns her shield, and the pulse damage, although not stuck, kills the target. Like, the fact that Shy can flex to the Tracer when Leave wants to play other things, usually just the Echo is when you're going to see that swap happen. The Shy versus Jimmy Widow battle, I wish there was a round 2 of it, but Spark just dominated on defense, and we didn't even get to see much of Point C when it came to Charge's offense. And then it was all up to Shy's first bloods on Coliseo, where they got 94 meters in, like, what, the first 2 minutes? And then that was pretty much game from there.
Yeah, we saw Choice A1 getting picked first. Like, it was supposed to be the chosen one. He was supposed to get the first frags, not feed them. And yet it was Shy continuously shutting down the X Factor on the Tracer that gave over the meterage that was then just trolled expertly by the Hangzhou Spark to be able to win this one out. As a quick look at those Hanzo stats, eliminations per 10 minutes, but the final blows per 10 are what you really want to have a look at. 8.5 per 10. Brutal.
Yeah, we all speak the praises of Jimothy, but Shy, I think, truly stepped up today. Both Leave and Shy, they've had these high highs and low lows, and I think I feel like one of their biggest rivals, Sparks, one of their biggest losses was to the Charge, and a sweep at that, keeping them as the 3rd seed. Now Spark get their revenge in this bracket. They go to the grand finals. They guarantee top 2, but Poker Face and Dreamers will be up next, and the winner of that has to go up against the number 1 seed of Owl. So good luck, contenders.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one, and it's going to be especially difficult for Dreamers, who are coming in off the back of, well, while destroying Seoul Dynasty, previously up against Poker Face. Poker Face did manage to 3-0 them in our first round of the knockouts, so hoping to, well, to be fair, we did just see a team that got 3-0'd previously come back with a reverse sweep, so it's anybody's game, and a lot of people might have been counting out Hangzhou Spark after the 2-0 came through after Kingsville, like, well, they tried, they gave it their best. I'm still flabbergasted. I am absolutely run amok. I've been bamboozled. I've been just run around by this.
What I was so interested in is the change of styles from Hangzhou Spark to go away what I thought was their style around the double flanker to just straight up mirroring the Charge's bread and butter of the Tracer Hanzo, and, you know, with variations of Hanzos to other things like the Ashe, as we saw. And the fact that Spark won that mirror more often than not, and, you know, it was still close, but Spark ended up just mirroring that and prevailing through most of the maps tells me that Spark's mechanics, they should trust in that more, because yes, Sombra and the double flanker takes mechanics, but it takes a certain amount of execution, setup, positioning, tempo that is difficult for any team and has been countered. And that's why Spark have maybe suffered more, and Charge haven't gone to Sombra at all. They just depend on straight their mechanics. And I think that's why Charge have looked so good in the Overwatch League. And now that Spark have proven that they have equal mechanics, if not maybe better, and maybe a better clutch factor at the end of the day, you got to put Spark in that conversation of, are they a top 2 team?
Yeah, because honestly, when Spark got 3-0'd by Guangzhou Charge in the qualifiers, it kind of put them down to being the gatekeeper team for APAC, where like teams that could not beat them were the mediocre teams of APAC, and teams that could beat them were our top teams. And honestly, they're going to be able to shake that off now and return to the prevalence of being the Chinese super team that we very much managed to laud. We've got some adorable news from production at the moment, Lemon. And honestly, very relatable gamer moment. Apparently, we need a moment before the interview because our interviewee is just calming down after that series. And honestly, I need it too. My heart would be pounding out of my chest.
And Dreamers and Poker Face are just pounding on their doors, ready to go because they've been waiting to face off. And this game 5 took a while, but at least I hope they weren't entertained. I hope you all at home were entertained. I think this has been the most exciting match of APAC knockouts thus far, and considered an upset. It feels like we've had a number of upsets, whether it was Dreamers sweeping Seoul Dynasty out of the bracket, Panthera sweeping SPG out of the bracket, and now Spark winning over the Charge as the 3rd seed, winning over the 1st seed in a reverse sweep of all things. So you never know what to expect out of APAC, unless that they're unpredictable, and more that just they really care. There's a lot of passion in this region, and the improvements come quick.
Yeah, we got Dallas Fuel coming up later as well, who are a real wild card. They like their Junker Queen and their Moira, which is a very different kind of style to the rest of APAC, going up against Soul Infernal, who seem to be IMO, one of the most versatile teams that we have here in APAC, with Mag able to play anything, and Skew just such a powerhouse on support. Honestly, we're blessed in APAC with so many just amazing flex support, Skewed, Farway, and of course, Monk spring to mind during this. Monk actually clutched up in that final fight as well there by hitting a 3-person nade, I believe, on both supports and Choice A1 as they were trying to enter into the point during overtime, which absolutely made sure there was no way to recover from that. There were going to be no Choice A1 clutches. There was going to be no repeat of King's Row.
And we're still working on getting Leave or Shy into the call, but speaking of Leave, who has been just hyped up, just this entire roster has been hyped up, but I felt like Leave hasn't had the loudest of moments, and I think just the general consensus is if you're not hitting pulse bombs, if you're not just hitting 4Ks like Choice One, you're just not a good tracer, and it's just a tempo issue for the Spark of not being able to get hacks off the double flank, or not well coordinated on the dives. Leaves Leave in his conversation of is he a good tracer, and I feel like he hasn't. It hasn't been fair for him. And now that Spark are on the same page, they can have first bloods, they have the tempos sorted out, and they've hit that peak today. Leave is definitely proven himself to be that fantastic tracer that he was once known for.
Shy just posted on social media saying, get up at where we fall, reverse sweep, now it all comes back. The best feeling ever. I mean, I can't imagine the elation in the camp right now, especially against like a team that we noted are definitely rivals, not just regionally, but personally for these teams. We know that, of course, Xerneas and Evoltal, or rather, I just Dallas and fueled myself. But Xerneas is a former teammate of a bunch of the guys from the Chengdu Hunters, Farway, also very close to them in the Chinese scene. They're all very familiar with each other, but friendship breeds intense rivalries, and that Piggy's there stoking the fires, poking him around like, hit him with a C9. I'm gonna psyops here. Lynx is throwing for you guys. You should replace him. And being able to come back from the Piggy psyops and the C9 getting clutched up against, that makes it all the more sweet for the Hangzhou Spark squad.
There was a lot of smack talk in this series, and I thought NA was the toxic region. It turns out that APAC talked just as much, and even we were even able to read it, which is great, because sometimes they write languages that I can't. Then I just assume that it's BM. But what's not BM is that we have our interview ready, so let's go and hear from them, and also Evelyn, our translator. So hello, Shy. Hello, Evelyn. Can you hear us?
Hello, Shy. 听得到吗？
听得到，听得到。
Yeah, he can hear us.
Okay, awesome. Congratulations, Shy, and to the Hangzhou Spark, the reverse sweep. I heard you had to take a second after the match to calm down. Just bring me through your thoughts, your emotions, to get your revenge against the Charge.
好的，首先恭喜获胜，而且是这样一场让二追三。 听说你在刚才比赛结束之后情绪非常的激动，所以需要一些时间来平复心情。想问一下你现在感觉如何？
这是我觉得除了季后赛，就这赛季最爽的一次吧。说实话，因为前面有几次失利让我感觉不是很舒服，但是这次的复仇让我感觉非常的棒。
I think it's the best match I've had in this season so far. Cause like we have a little bit of downs before in this season, but I'm happy that I finally like did my best and performed so well today. Yeah, it makes me feel really so happy.
And how did you feel you performed against Jimmy in particular on the Hanzo and Widow duels? Do you think you're the best Hanzo in APAC?
接下来是我们也看到今天单选手，你今天和机密选手有很多在百合和半藏上的对位，想问一下这个对位的感受是什么样的呢？同时你觉得自己是不是东部最好的半藏？
东部来说，我觉得是的，因为东部没有我觉得非常厉害的选手，我的眼光都放在了西部。但是我觉得只要我没有失误，就是少点失误什么的，我觉得游戏会非常的简单。
So the answer is yes. I consider myself as the best Hangzhou in East because I don't see there are quite some like really good Hangzhou players in East. I'm actually aiming for some better ones in West side. So as long as I don't make mistakes in our matches, I think our life and matches will go pretty easy. Yeah.
That's great to hear. But this series was exciting, but your team started at this deficit. So, how did the team pick each other up morally after starting the series off 0-2 to come back in the series?
那么首先我们也知道这场比赛是一个让2-3嘛，想知道队伍们是怎么做到在这个0-2落后的前提下，及时的重整旗鼓，然后最终获得胜利的呢？就大家是怎么样精神上的互相鼓舞，或者说战术上进行一些改变？
我觉得从实力上，不管从任何方面来讲，我觉得我们都不落下风，我们一直都相信我们是能走到最后赢下来这场比赛的人，所以我觉得大家都有这个信念，所以坚持下来了。
We always have faith in our mind that we are able to be the best team and like make it till the last. So as long as we have that faith in mind, I don't think we are like really upset because of the 0-2 fall behind. So yeah, that's why we really like turn it around.
Well, it's great to hear that you kept your spirits high. So thank you so much for the interview, Shai. Congratulations, and we'll see you at the grand final.
好的，那就是今天的采访了，感谢晒，也希望能在决赛看到你。
Oh, thank you, Shai, and thank you, Evelyn. It's good to hear, Lemon, that spirits remained high, 0-2 down. That's what you bring to the squad when you've got that many veterans. Just not panicking when you're 0-2 down. We've reversed it plenty of times before. We can do it again.
And you got your spice out of that interview of Shai claiming he is the best Hanzo in APAC, and we'll see if he will be, if the Spark can go to the midseason madness. They're in the grand final, and they're waiting for who comes out of the lower bracket between Dreamers, Pokerface, and the Guangzhou Charge. Up next, we have the Battle of Contenders, Dreamers versus Pokerface. You won't want to miss it.